Aloha. Will the Agriculture, Diversification, Environmental, and Public Transportation Committee meeting of March 12, 2026 please come to order? The time is now 9:04 a.m. Good morning, members. Members, in accordance with the Sunshine Law, if you're not in the council chamber, please identify by name who, if anyone, is in the room, vehicle, or workspace with you today. Minors do not need to be identified. Also, please see the last page on the agenda information on meeting connectivity, and remember to silence all cell phones, please. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone, and aloha. I look forward to chairing a productive meeting. I'm Gabe Johnson, your committee chair. Also joining us today is Vice Chair Shane Sinensi. Aloha, council members.
Aloha kakaya kako. Happy to be here. Just a quick report on the east side. No big rain or wind events just yet, but very overcast. No testifiers in Hana and Chair. I do have a scheduled conflict at 11 that I'll just have to step out for a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to committee member Kaunoe Batangan. Aloha, council member.
Aloha kakahia kakako.
Aloha, and followed by that, Chair Lee. I see her on the cable. Aloha, council member.
Aloha, and all the way from Africa, Angola, we say ola. Ola to all of you, and I'm home alone in my workspace. Looking forward to your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lee. Ola. And from the Kihei District Office, we have Councilmember Tom Cook. Ola.
Aloha, aloha, and happy rainy day. It's going to get really green. I'm looking forward to your meeting, Chair.
Okay, thank you for that. Moving on to committee member, Councilmember Tamara Paulton. Aloha, Councilmember.
Aloha kakaya kakako, streaming live and direct from the council chambers.
Thank you. And finally, we have Councilmember Noelani U'u Hodgins. Aloha, Councilmember.
Aloha and ola, chair and members. I'm at my private residence. I do have two adults in the house with me. The first is my son, Makoa U'u, and the other is my husband, William Koa Hodgins. To report too on the weather, behind me you can see it's dark enough, but not too much rain. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you for the update. And of course, our non-voting members are always welcome. That would be Councilmember Rollins Fernandez and Councilmember Sugimura. From the administration, we have first up the Department of Agriculture. We have Director Kaliausi, Deputy Director Koaheva, Advocates Maya Hunter, Ag Conservation Liaison Janine Rosa, Food Security Coordinator Lauren Nelson is online. And then we have for the Department of Environmental Management, we have Corporation Counsel Adrian Reif Snyder, yeah. And then we have Deputy Director of Environmental Management, Environmental Protection and Sustainability Manager. From the Department of Water Supply, we have the Planning Program Administrator, Planner De Robles, Department of Transportation, Deputy Director. We have Program Specialist Nakamoto and Haney. From the committee staff, we also have the good morning for all the committee staff joining us today. Now we have a big agenda, members, 4 items on the agenda. And I'll go through them right now. Operational and budgetary review of the Department of Agriculture, ADEPT 1, parentheses 2. Operational and budgetary review of the watershed protection grants administered by the Department of Water Supply, that's ADEPT 1, parentheses 5. Operational and budgetary review of the Environmental Protection and Sustainability Division of the Department of Environmental Management, which is 1, parentheses 3. And finally, operational budgetary review of the Department of Transportation, 1, parentheses 4. These items are informational only and no legislative action will be taken. I plan to take up 3 departmental operation and budgetary reviews before lunch. The Department of Ag, Watershed Protection Grants, administered by the Department of Water Supply, the Environmental Protection and Sustainability Division of the Department of Environmental Management, and then the review of the Department of Transportation will be done in the afternoon, members. Thank you, members and administration personnel, for being here today. And let's begin with public testimony on all items on the agenda. Staff, do we have any testifiers?
Chair, there's no individual signed up at the beginning of the meeting, but I do see one individual approaching the podium.
Okay. And J.C. Law commonly he probably knows our script here, so I'll skip it for J.C.
You don't have to read all that stuff.
Thank you.
Welcome, Melina Maikako, JC Law, Moku Okula, Waiakoa Ahupua'a, that's Kula Uka. So the rain's coming down to your area. Mr. Cook, we miss you over here, Mr. Cook. I don't have nobody to pick on today. Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I got up this morning, I had a hopeful feeling because I knew you'd be here doing the agricultural stuff. And I would really like to work on help one of the farmers up country. It's been very difficult I have no transportation except for the bus. And the one farm that the bus goes by, the lady was crazy, and I tried 10 times to get a job there, but they weren't having none of it. I did hear there was this one disabled veteran farmer up there somewhere, and hopefully he's paying attention today. And it's kind of frustrating because I get different answers from the government. I haven't been over to the ag department very much. I know they're just getting started. And so I didn't want to bother them too much. But it's frustrating because sometimes I don't want to put my own roadblock in there, but sometimes the government says, well, that's confidential information. We can't help you with that. So it's like, I'd like to work somewhere, only part-time though. So if maybe Lanai, I know it's going to be, your farm is going to need some help here after all this rain. So thank you for your time. And as usual, I save my time for the people of Hawaii. Thank you,
J.C. Law. Any clarifying questions for our testifier? Seeing none, thank you once again. At this time, if there's anyone wishing to testify on these items, please use the raise your hand function and you will be called on to testify. Staff, do we have anybody else wishing to testify?
Chair, there's no individual signed up to testify at this time. Would you like me to do a last call?
Yes, please.
This is the last call for oral testimony. Please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams and staff will unmute you. Here's a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated that they wish to testify.
Okay, members, seeing there's no one else wishing to testify, I'll now proceed with the agenda. With the FY27 budget deliberations around the corner, I have invited the various departments under the ADEPT Committee's jurisdiction to present today on administration of the FY26 budgets and to let us know their priorities in FY27. Our first agenda item is operational and budgetary review of the Department of Agriculture. I'd first like to hear from the Department of Ag, whose important task is to support the development and continued management of the sustainable regional agricultural model, promote resident and ecosystem health and well-being, and create a circular agroeconomic system that can be a thriving example for the rest of the world. Oh, lofty goals. Love it. Director Arce and Deputy Director Heva, thank you for being here today. Please proceed with your presentation.
Aloha Kakahiaka Chair Johnson and ADEPT committee members. The County of Maui Department of Agriculture is ready this morning to share the fiscal year 2026 operational budgetary review, department's accomplishments for this fiscal year, our projects in progress, and our 2027 priorities. Presenting with me is Deputy Director Koa Heva, and our subject matter experts are program leaders, some virtually, and we have 2 here. Thank you for inviting the department. We'll proceed with our slideshow. Slide number 2, please. The Department of Agriculture's total budget of $16,421,152 is a 99.5% increase from fiscal year 2025. The department's total salaries and wages budget reflects a 3.6% increase approved by the union, as well as the raises for the department heads as approved by the Salary Commission. The department's operations budget increased by 118.10%. Of the total department budget, grant subsidy funds that the department administers is $14,356,000. No equipment was needed this fiscal year except for the annual lease of the Xerox copier and is reflected in the 95.9% decrease in equipment budget. This fiscal year, the department was approved an additional 3.5 expanded positions. The positions include 1 Secretary 3, 1 Information and Education Specialist, 1 Value Chain Coordinator, and 1 Half-Time Park Project Coordinator. Each of these positions were approved funding for 8 months. The department is developing PDs for 2.5 expanded positions. One is the Value Chain Coordinator position, which may require creating a new class unless an existing class has relatable tasks for this position. The second position is the Secretary 3. This position will be reallocated to a boards and committee secretary because the department administers the Kula Ag Park Committee, and with the transfer of the Maui Humane Society grants, the department is now assigned the Animal Board Committee. Additionally, the newly hired Agriculture Conservation Liaison is vice chair for the Conservation Committee, which may require the department's assistance for committee work. The half-time expanded position for the Park Project Coordinator is being reallocated to a half-time program specialist. It was intended that the Park Project Coordinator would facilitate the Ag Park CIP projects, but I have been doing so since fiscal year 23, the first year of the department's establishment. The PD for the half-time program specialist is currently being developed. This position will collect crop and economic data from the Ag Park, which we did not have upon the transfer of the program from the Office of Economic Development. The data will establish a baseline for the department to compare over time how much food and other ag products are produced on county-owned land, which is directly contributing to Maui's food security, Maui's landscape and flower industries. The department hired the Education and Information Specialist who is onboarding on April 1st. This position will work closely with our leaders, the subject matter experts, on developing educational materials, outreach flyers, and share about the department's programs and activities through social media and through the department's website. Another update regarding funded positions is the ISA certified arborist position will be transferred to the Parks and Recreations Department, who has the need for inspection and inventory on park and beach trees, as well as the equipment and other personnel. With the Agriculture Conservation Liaison on board, the total positions established in the department are 15. Slide 3, please. We will now share the Department of Agriculture programs. Slide 4. Starting with our Food Security Division. Next slide. Under the leadership of Food Access Coordinator Lauren Nelson, program accomplishments of the Food Security Division includes the following accomplishments. The 2025 Maui Food Summit took place on Friday, October 10th. It included an agriculture resource fair, a keynote presentation from Kalo producer Jerome Kekivi Jr., a presentation of the Food and Nutrition Security Plan, breakout group discussions which focus on implementing the objectives in goal number 2 of the Food and Nutrition Security Plan. Also, a panel discussion on the barriers food producers face that limit production, a panel discussion on the future of agriculture education, the launch of the Eat Local Maui Challenge, and a closing keynote talk from the farmer and rancher Karen Kanikoa. Through the Farm to Family Grant Program, 5 Maui County-based organizations were awarded the Farm to Family Grant to purchase or enter into purchasing contracts for or to establish consumer subsidy programs for foods grown or harvested in Maui County. Developed in partnership with the Parks Department and Council Member Johnson, the Lanai Farmers Market launched in October 2025 with the purpose to expand economic opportunities for producers and to improve healthy local food access for residents. The market is managed by the Hawaii Farmers Union, and 9 vendors are currently signed up to sell at the market. The Lanai Food Stimulus Program, co-developed with Councilmember Johnson. This program provides food vouchers to 350 low-income Lanai households to purchase locally grown meat, fish, produce, eggs, poi to improve food security and community health while supporting economic growth for local farmers. MEO was contracted to administer the program, and they successfully launched the program at the Lanai Farmers Market in January. Working with Councilmember Gabe Johnson again, the Food Access Coordinator utilized the Food and Nutrition Security Plan's goal and actions to draft an addition to the county-wide policy plan, developing the goal to strengthen food systems and food access to add to the county-wide policy plan to strengthen food systems and expand food security. A collaborative effort of the Food Access Coordinator and the Department of Human Services, Office of Aging, and Kaunoa Senior Services, the locally grown healthy food for Kupuna program was developed. A vendor was selected to administer the program, which aims to expand the availability of healthy, locally sourced food at senior congregate dining sites across Maui County. Next slide. The food security programs in progress include the following. This April, the Food Access Coordinator will launch an RFP for food as medicine programs in Maui County to support health centers and care providers' ability to purchase local food for produce prescription programs and medically tailored meals. The Food Access Coordinator is also currently developing a meat processing needs survey and assessment to support food workforce development and the creation of a butchery and meat processing program in Maui County. Following the Lanai Farmers Market 6-month pilot, the Food Access Coordinator, in partnership with HFU, will implement the Lanai Farmers Market vendor survey to assess opportunities for improvement of the market's frequency, advertising, and management to improve the market for future years. The Food Access Coordinator is also working with the Management Department's GIS team to develop our Maui County Farmers Market story map, sharing the location, opening hours, and photos of each farmers market in Maui County, with information about each market's available food access programs. The Food and Nutrition Security Plan annual update requires the Food Access Coordinator to compile data from each action lead in the Food and Nutrition Security Plan to provide an update on the plan's progress and identify areas of need and the local impacts caused by shifts in federal funding. This update will be shared on the department's website when it is complete. Last week, we presented the Kaya Hahui Foundation's congressional earmark request to develop a produce stand at Hawaii Taro Farm to expand market access for their cooperative of over 30 farmers and ranchers and to expand food access in Waikapu. Next slide. The fiscal year priorities of the food security programs for 2027 include the following. Expand the fiscal year 26 local food for Kupuna program pilot project to include additional sites across the county and expand the length of the program and number of elders served. Expand the fiscal year 26 food as medicine pilot program to include health center host sites across Maui County and to expand the length of the program and number of patients served. The meat processing program will train the future generation of slaughterhouse workers, managers, and butchers in Maui County, partnering with our existing ranches and meat processing operations to provide students with hands-on learning opportunities and robust food safety training. This program will utilize the meat processing needs assessment data to design the course around the labor needs for Maui County slaughterhouses, ranchers, grocery stores, and delis. The program will utilize the Hawaii Community College's Ka Education Center in Honoka'a's 6-week non-credit butchery course, which started in spring 25 as the model. Funding for the Eat Local Maui Challenge would provide funding to organize their annual challenge, including developing new educational materials for classrooms and families online services for where to source local and funding for printing materials. Funding for the middle school Ag Field Day will enable STEMworks to conduct their programs, including middle school agriculture career fair for students in 6th to 10th grade and expose students to agriculture aiming to have these students involved in high school agriculture classes and programs and later pursue agriculture careers. By continuing the pilot farm-to-family program, it will increase local residents' access to locally produced and harvested food. Lastly, Farmers Market Food Access Manager Stipend Program will provide farmers markets across Maui County with a stipend to compensate their food access managers' time spent on administering food access programs, including the Bucks program to double SNAP purchasing power on local produce, and the WIC program. This pilot program would fund up to 5 farmer markets across Maui County for 10 hours per week at $22 per hour. Next slide.
Check. I'll jump in. Vilin Maikaku, aloha. We will transition now over to our grants program that is led by our grants coordinator, Anna Mejia Vasconcelos, and her wonderful grants management specialist team. Slide 9, please. The grants program awarded a total of 61 grants in FY26 with a total amount of $14,286,391. 28% of grant funding for competitive opportunities, while a larger percentage, 72%, was appropriated to line items, including the Maui Humane Society. Transition over from DHC. The funding, $14.2 million, was distributed to all Maui County islands. Funding for each island is specified in the middle pie chart. Maui with 52%, Molokai 6%, Lanai 2%, and projects consisting of multiple islands countywide was 40%. The pie chart to the right shows the distribution between the types of entities that were awarded. The majority of grants were nonprofits, covering 87%, followed by our for-profit businesses, 6%, sole proprietors at 4%, and the state at 3%. Okay, move over to slide deck number 10. And then I'll share grant programs in process. The grants division is currently managing 136 active grants with our team of 3. This includes 61 in FY26, 58 in FY25, 12 in 24, and 5 in 23. The team is diligently working with grantees and finance department to complete final payments on the grants from 23 and 24. The grants division made over 1,000 contacts with community members and grantees with general grant inquiries and technical assistance during FY26. Approximately 50 meetings were provided to grantees for one-on-one technical assistance for reimbursement requests. The division is working on improving guidance materials to assist grantees through the reimbursement process. And currently at this time, the division is working on releasing the grant application for the Lanai Food Stimulus Program. Next slide, please. Right here, we'll briefly go over our FY27 priorities, anticipated priorities. So there's a need for a financial literacy workshop for ag producers, and it has become evident as the grants team provide one-on-one technical assistance to grantees. These workshops will be designed in collaboration with our ag community. To distribute grant funding in a more equitable manner to our underserved communities, the grants division will be developing mapping of the geographical areas where funding has been distributed and identified underfunded locations as well. Outreach events will be planned to target those areas. The division strives to streamline the grants process, but we need continuous feedback from grantees. Our survey will be developed and distributed to grantees upon grant closure to provide feedback for continuous improvements. Another area we continuously hear from our grantees is that it is difficult to find upfront capital to purchase or pay for goods and services upfront, then submit and wait for reimbursements. So our division is working on gathering other funding resources that could help, and other supporting agencies that could help grantees obtain capital for the grant or other more suitable grant or loan opportunities that have different payment methods and schedules. Resources will be made available on our Ag Department's website. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Now we will share our advocacy division led by our agricultural advocate, Maya Hunter, who's sitting with us today. Next slide. Our advocacy legislative priorities during our opening of the legislative season, Advocacy Division was able to share Department of Ag's 2026 legislative priority list with senators and representatives on Oahu. Using the Department of Agriculture's strategic plan as a guide, four major themes surfaced, revolving around agricultural infrastructure, invasive species and environment, food security for residents, and agricultural workforce. Beneath these four categories, we identified great need for advocacy around expansion of food hubs, commercial kitchens, and meat processing facilities. We advocate for advanced prevention of CRB and invasive pests to safeguard our agricultural production, as well as protect and expand access to agricultural land. We aim to support the procurement of Maui County grown food to supply the community and support programs that will increase food security and resiliency to natural disaster. And finally, we advocate for enforcement of agricultural theft in our Maui County and support the expansion of our local butchery programs for next generations. Slide 14, please. Now I'll speak on the progress of our Department of Advocacy, our division. Maya, our ag advocate, is tracking county and state legislation related to ag. This helps us to stay informed about new bills, funding opportunities, and regulations. When relevant, we identify where Maui Department of Agriculture should submit testimony to represent the needs of our farming community. The department has a list of 14 bills so far that testimony has been drafted for and will be presented after the cross on March 12th. Next, we are collecting stories and data from local producers, real experiences and numbers from the field to help make our testimony stronger. These stories show decision makers the real impact of agricultural policies, both the challenges and the success. Finally, we are coordinating with existing partners like our farm bureaus, nonprofits, and other agencies. Collaborations help us avoid duplication of efforts and strengthen our joint advocacy. Working together ensures unified messages that supports the entire agricultural sector. Next slide, please. These are our priorities for our advocacy division. The first initiative is a farmer gap certification workshop, which means good ag practices. The workshop will help farmers meet safety and quality standards required by buyers. We'll provide hands-on guidance, checklists, connections, incentives, and resources to make certifications easier. That's what we aim to do. Also, we aim to incentivize farmers in the FSMA certification workshops, which is the Food Safety Modernization Act. It focuses on food safety from farm to table. This incentive will help farmers comply with federal requirements and reduce risk of contamination. Planning to also review and revise some county codes to better support our agricultural operations. This includes zoning updates, water use policies, and simplifying permits that often slow down farm projects. Axis deer continue to damage crops and pastures. We are advocating for dedicated funding to support deer management through research, fencing support, and coordinated control efforts. Another effort is improving Lastly, we are promoting subsidies and incentives for farmers covering costs like water, feed, fencing, and transportation. The goal is to keep farming financially viable and to strengthen our local food systems.
Next slide, please. Now we will share about the Agriculture Park Program led by our new Agriculture Maintenance Specialist and Ag Park Manager, Kai Thilk, and his crew of park caretakers. Next slide. Daily activities of the Agriculture Park Program include the Ag Park Maintenance Specialists coordinating work that are carried out by the caretakers, park caretakers, that include keeping culverts clean, removing large trash and weed whacking the sides of the interior roads and along the fence lines as part of the weed management. The team also assists Department of Water Supply in keeping eyes on the reservoir through intermittent inspections and cleaning filter systems as needed, reporting any issues to Department of Water Supply. One CIP that is about to break ground end of this month is the replacement of the booster pump station, which will be constructed by PB Sullivan. It cost the county $433,472 for the design and $3,957,532 for construction. Funds were encumbered in fiscal year 24 and 25 from the CIP funding. The booster pump is required per an agreement between Mahipono and the county in order to supply the water allocations determined by Seaworm, which are currently 1.5 million gallons to the ag park, and in the future, 1.0 million gallons to the new Upper Maui Ag Park that is planned as a second agriculture park developed for organic production. Next slide. Having a larger reservoir is a priority for the agriculture park. This past January, Goodfellows was awarded a $17.375 million contract to construct the 2.4 million gallon concrete reservoir. The reservoir will provide additional water storage for the agriculture parks, water for fighting fires, and water for drought amelioration. Next slide. The Agriculture Conservation Program is funded by a grant from the USDA NRCS Strategic Partnerships Pathways Program and managed by our conservation liaison, who's here this morning with us. Her name is Janine Rasa. Next slide. The Agriculture Conservation Program goals are to improve communication and collaboration between conservation and agriculture sectors, to strengthen disaster resilience, restore the environment, and support local food production and culture. The three objectives of the program are to promote innovative land management solutions for fires, floods, and erosion, promote cultural and science-based vegetation and restoration management strategies, and to cultivate science-based conversations through outreach and education. Next slide. Projects in progress under the Agriculture Conservation Program include developing an Access Deer Resource webpage that will be on our website, coordination with watershed working groups, coordination with MEMA Land Management, coordination with Department of Water Supply and partners on water conservation and access, protection of agriculture lands, and developing outreach and education materials, and going into the community, and one-on-one meetings with farmers and ranchers. Next slide. The Agriculture Conservation Program priorities include participating in the Access Deer Working Group, support watershed restoration projects as a resource person, assist MEMA with county land management after fuel hazard reduction activities, support water conservation projects as a resource person, ag lands support for the imperiled agriculture mapping, and biosecurity outreach and education. Next slide. Due to the passing of Senate Bill number 2401 in 2024, which says the counties are to develop a feral chicken control and education program, the calls and inquiries about control options increased, and residents had no assistance from other government agencies. The $50,000 funding for Senate Bill 2401 was vetoed, which the counties would have to match, leaving counties to determine if they want to fund their own program. Through my research, it was found that the State Department of Ag and Biosecurity only addresses agriculture communities. DLNR will only address wildlife concerns. Department of Health will only step into will only educate on the effects of feral chicken and birds towards someone's health. At the time when I approached Humane Society with the previous executive director, she was not wanting to participate and stated their focus was on domestic animals, although they would occasionally trap loose rabbits and guinea pigs. USDA Animal Wildlife would assess residents and businesses' feral chicken issues, and are willing to develop a control program, but it will be with the Department of Ag and Biosecurity. all the expenses would be on the resident and businesses. With prompting from Mayor Bisson to look into the feral chicken issue, the department initiated a 10-week pilot program trapping feral chickens on county park facilities using a contracted animal control company. This program was between October and December of last year. The purpose was to determine the cost of trapping. A total of 451 chickens were trapped. The total cost came out to $30.55 per chicken. A second round will start to get more cost data. Although the department does not have enforcement or regulatory powers, this pilot will help the department advocate for funding and may lead to an incentive program to reduce the costs for community members providing funding is secured. Next slide. This concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director, Deputy Director, and all of your staff for joining us, and thank you for that great presentation. Okay, we're going to move on to public testimony. At this time, if there's anyone wishing to testify on this item, please use the raise your hand function and you will be called upon to testify. Staff, is there anyone wishing to testify?
Chair, there's no individuals wishing to signed up at this time to testify. Would you like me to do a last call?
Yes, please.
This is the last call for oral testimony. Please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams if you would like to testify. The countdown is 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated that they wish to testify.
Thank you so much. Members, seeing there are no more individuals wishing to testify, are there any objections to closing oral testimony for this item? Thank you. I'll now close public testimony for this item and get into deliberations on operational and budgetary review of the Department of Agriculture, DEP 1, parentheses 2. I propose 3 minutes per council member for each round of discussion, starting with Vice Chair Senensi. Before we get into that, I just want to first off, shout out for the slides on Lanai. Thank you. You guys have been doing such great work there. And boy, that chicken slide, I bet I saw the members' faces, everybody's eyes lit up, and we're going to probably talk a lot about that. But we're going to turn this over to Vice Chair Senensi.
Mahalo, Chair, and mahalo for that presentation. Yeah, my first was, what are you doing with the chickens?
The contractor collects it and takes it from there.
Like to a chicken farm,
There's disposal and he has other outlets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then my other question was, was there any state funding allocations, or is that coming up next year?
Thank you for the question. So when that bill had passed, they had proposed $50,000 for each county. After it passed, the funding got vetoed.
Oh, that was for the chickens.
Right. So we're taking our own money and implementing the pilot program. So we're going on round 2.
I thought I heard some monies from the legislature for the park.
I'm not sure about. The CIP? Oh, okay, yeah. So the CIP funding that was encumbered was from, previous funding.
Got it.
But the one upcoming for the reservoir is using the remainder of all the funding that was sourced from other government periods, like fiscal year 20, and it's all the balances that's left over from the previous secured funding.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And Chair, right, the Lanai, the focus on Lanai was very inspiring. So, I mean, just hearing all the different stories and how we can affect our county residents. Of course, we're getting, a lot of people are getting cut with the SNAP benefit, so including the kupuna. So how this department can help get some freshly sourced foods to our vulnerable community is, I'm glad that's one of the department's priorities. For the grants, you mentioned underfunded locations. So when grants come in, is that one of the objectives to see that some of these locations that need more freshly sourced food
Yes,
get
the
some of
team
this?
are using that to develop the baseline. Now, also wanted to add, council member, that the department secured 2.5 million for HANA to
For the
congressional
aggregation.
earmark.
Yeah, okay.
For your community kitchen.
Yes, thank you for that. And then I know you mentioned some partnerships with some water advocates, including the DWS, but for the East Maui Water Authority, we did currently add Uncle Bobby Pahia onto the board as the upcountry farmer position. So I don't know if working with him as far as getting water from East Maui would, because he would represent the park area upcountry. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Nancy. We're going to move to Councilmember Batangan, followed by Councilmember Uhajas, Councilmember Cook, Chair Lee, Councilmember Paulton. That's the order. So, Councilmember Batangan.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director, Deputy, and staff. Can I ask you to go to your organizational chart? Can you bring it back on the slide? It just seems
I don't,
okay.
thank you for reminding me about that.
If you
We,
can't bring your presentation back up, that's okay. But I guess I just had a question on the org
I
chart.
don't think we had the
I
org
think
chart
staff,
in there.
can you help with the,
Our,
Okay,
yeah,
it's in the version that's posted to Granicus.
yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
Oversight on that.
but it seems like an odd organizational chart. One, because the mayor had always said that he wanted his deputies to oversee operations, and two, because when I was a department head, we were told that DPS didn't want direct reports to the director. So how is it that there are certain divisions that are split under the director and certain divisions that are split under the management of the deputy?
Director?
Thank you for asking that question. So, in early on, I knew that Deputy Director was just coming on and was not, experienced with executive management. So we're slowly transitioning over programs to him as he, now he has more time, and a lot of time. A year and a half was spent in recovery, and it was difficult for him to manage the, recovery because he was co-leading natural resources. So that was also another factor for me to step in to help with the management of the department's divisions, and we're also creating new divisions at this concurrently.
Thank you.
Chair, point of information, that org chart is from their 2025 presentation.
Oh,
Yeah,
So-
that's
Sorry,
old
I
one.
was confused, Chair.
Forgot about including that, so my oversight. I can get that to you later, though. Thank you.
if you like, we can ask for that in writing if you need a reminder, Director. Okay, staff, we got that written
And
down.
the other point of information, today's slideshow wasn't uploaded to Granicus yet, so maybe that's why he was looking at last year's one.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Chair. So, Director, you mentioned the pilot program for trapping feral chickens. You have data on how much it costs to trap a chicken. Do you have any data to measure success in other ways? Like, how effective were you in population control or, decreasing the nuisance to the communities or to the different other ag?
Director?
Thank you for the question. We just initiated and implemented that one just to develop the baseline to understand the cost of trapping. As time goes on, we'll determine what other factors that might contribute to the cost. It's kind of expensive, I feel, for an individual family. $475 for 2 weeks, for a week for 4 traps, or $117 for 2 traps for 1 week. That's an expense out of the family's budget.
Thank you. Has there been consideration for piloting any sort of animal control for other species, like, say, feral cats near, nature preserves?
Thank you for the question. So regarding feral cats, No, that is already done by other conservation organizations, and our main focus, we want to keep it on agriculture, and that is more a conservation-related issue. As far as feral pigs, if that's what you're referencing, no, we haven't looked into that, but I do know that USDA Animal Wildlife, they do have a division that handles that.
Thank you. And last question has to do with enforcement. I think you mentioned that the department does not have any enforcement authority on any sort of feral animals. Would the department be looking for some from this council?
Well, so that's a interesting question, because we were developed to not have enforcement and to not regulate. So some of these issues that have come up are floating. There's, like the feral chicken, there's no agency that's gonna touch it. So it just kind of falls with no one. So we're just, taking the initiative to see what the county can do.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you for that line of questioning. Let's move on to Councilmember Ua Hodges, followed by Councilmember Tom Cook.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for your presentation. I appreciate all the work that you folks do. Last time I ran into Deputy Director, and I seen he just left, but we had a quick conversation about ag crimes. And in recent months, I've seen a couple ranchers and farmers deal with some poaching issues, which I know necessarily isn't in your purview, but more particularly ag crimes. What can we do to help you folks reduce the amount of ag crimes, or increase the fines, or increase the penalties on ag crimes? Because there's been, I think, a mini spike.
Department?
Thank you for the question. So it kind of connects with Councilmember Patangan's question about anything that you can do. So our advocate is working on tracking those bills and is advocating for the state to look into expanding their enforcement into Maui County, because currently they only have it focused on Oahu, but maybe that's something that the county could work together with the department so that it's Maui County focused, and that we take care of our own pilikia rather than waiting for the state. But although we don't want to be redundant, so it has to be crafted in a manner that doesn't overlap other agencies.
Okay.
We also have Maya who wants to add in.
Testing.
Yeah.
Mahalo for the question, council member. So tomorrow, our department will be providing testimony in support of a bill to pass the pilot program that is happening on Oahu and Hawaii Island to come to outer islands, including Maui County. So we've been in communications with HPD and Maui Police Department. So our department will be providing testimony in support tomorrow for that measure.
What measure is that? Can you tell me the bill number?
SB 2798.
SB 2798.
Relating to law enforcement. Mahalo.
Thank you. I saw that you had a blip in your slide in partnering with MEMA and wildfire reduction. I'm wondering if you can expand on that a little bit.
Director?
I'll have our agriculture conservation liaison respond. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, council member. It's such a big topic that it's hard to write it all out in the slide, hence the little blip. But that, obviously MEMA is our agency that's leading that effort. And specifically when I was talking with Amos, they have a whole team right now where they're looking at reducing fire hazard and intensity on county lands. My job is more that I would work with them on what we do with the lands after their fuel reduction work. But I would also like to just let you know that I actually used to fight wildfire back in the day when I was much younger and stronger. Not recently. And so I do have some background in that and lots of other places. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for your answers. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember, for that line of questioning. Let's move on to Councilmember Tom Cook, followed by Chair Lee.
Well, thank you, Director, and all of the department for your work and the presentation. First, I had a question on the update on the deer fencing. The council did a grant for, I think, $1.5 million with allocating a certain amount maximum. Do you have an update on how that's going?
Department.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Cook. I believe Anna is online right now. I see her. And I also wanted to just really quickly add for Councilmember Hajins that the department is also looking into, we're developing the grazing application, working with Corp Council. So Anna, are you on? Can you please respond? Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the question. Yes, so we have the $1.5 million grant that was granted to Lokahi Pacific, and I did get an update that the application will be coming out in the next week or so. So it's forthcoming, and we'll let all of our community know about that opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much. I was in contact with Lokahi Pacific also, and I'm glad to hear that the department's working with them. They have a track record for managing the grants, and hopefully that'll lighten the load for the department, because you folks shared young department and the difficulty of being saddled with doing multiple tasks when you don't have the staff for it. I want to compliment you on the presentation today. I think the department's getting traction in your wings. I had one question about, if you could bring up the slide about the grant funding, and there was a percentage for the part that was for sole provider and a profit. I was curious what the difference between for-profit and sole provider is. Sole proprietor.
Yes, so the sole proprietor would be an individual that doesn't necessarily have a registered business, whereas the for-profit is a business that would be, for example, under an LLC. So they're incorporated in some form, have a business structure. So that would be the primary difference between both of them.
Okay, thanks. And basically, is the criteria for qualifications similar for all applicants?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I don't have any more questions now, Chair. Thanks to the department for your service.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Cook, for that line of questioning. Let's move on to Chair Lee.
Hi. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Director Arce, for your presentation. It's clear that all of you are very dedicated and hardworking. I am concerned, however, that you seem to be expanding a lot of little programs. And our thought when we created your department was to make a difference with the over-reliance on out-of-state food production and purchases. And my understanding is that it's at 90, in the area of 90%. So have any of your programs that you have assisted or created made a dent in that 90%?
Director.
Thank you for the question, Chair Lee. I understand what you're asking, and the way the programs have been developed, those small programs, is generated by the need from the community. As far as the dent in reducing the 90%, we haven't did any work on measuring if it has been done, but I know our food access coordinator is online. She may have a more comprehensive answer. Lauren, are you available to speak on that, please?
Yes, of course. Councilmember Lee, thank you for the question. So we have had a really difficult time tracking down that imported statistic. How do we displace imported food with food grown here? It's something that we're focused on with each of our programs. In communities like East Maui, Lanai, and Molokai, a small program, small amount of funds can make a huge impact because our community of farmers out there are just, you know, they're doing so much with so little. I would say our grants program has had a huge impact on scaling up our producers, increasing the amount of food that's getting to local people through farmers markets, through summer food programs.
Excuse me, Lauren. I have a limited amount of time.
Oh, pardon me, Chair.
You bring up a lot of small programs, which is fine, but we're talking about an investment of $16 million. And so I'm asking, what is our return? Is it substantial, or is there a goal to reduce the 90% to 80% in so many years, et cetera? I mean, we cannot continue to just rely on these little programs that help just small numbers. And so that's what I just want to know. Do you have an overall goal to cut that 90% down at some point?
Yes, Charlie, we are very much in support of our statewide goals, supporting specifically institutional purchasing. So our small pilot programs around food as medicine, and also our efforts to scale up farm to school purchasing will have a very large impact over time, even though the pilot programs are small now. Thanks for the question.
Okay. All right, thank you, Chair Johnson, thank you.
All right, it sounds like Chair Lee wants to increase your budget, and I'm in full support of that. Okay, let's move on to Councilmember Paulton.
Thank you, Chair. Before my time starts, I just wanted to say limited time, plenty questions, and so if I cut you off, I'm not trying to be rude. The focus of my questions is like the continuity from one year to another. Have the administrative rules been created? Last we heard March 5th, it was with Randy Pereira of HGA for consultation.
No, it's still in draft form. Our administrative assistant has so much stuff to work on, but it's on our list to do. And we knew you were gonna ask us about that.
Okay, and then in fiscal year 25, the dashboard was one of your big priorities. What's the progress on that?
Okay, thank you for asking the question. So the dashboard is actually, we're considering the mapping that we're doing with GIS as the dashboard. So that will reflect all the food access, locations, et cetera. And we have more details that Lauren can answer if you want more on that.
Nope, that's good, thank you. In your April 7th, 25 transmittal, you had said that there's not a need for the Kula Ag Park Committee to exist for several reasons. But it's still existing, and now we're taking the Secretary 3 and making it a boards and committee secretary. Is it going to still remain Kula Ag Park, or was it going to just be an Ag Park committee?
Director?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So currently, we're looking at Bill Chapter 22 to make some code changes so that it specifically says Kula Ag Park or Upper Maui Ag Park. So the other thing is we don't have enough to fill quorum. And because the administrative assistant and myself are doing all the secretary work, it's just a huge task. So the Secretary 3 would help, but we are intending to continue it if, because the code hasn't changed yet, so it's still in effect.
Do you still feel that it's not necessary and that it should be made into an Ag Park committee rather than focused on Kula and the UMAP area or whatever?
Yes, I feel that a committee for the ag parks would be more of a benefit than focus on Kula Ag Park, because the department might develop more agriculture parks. Like I know Lanai wanted one at one time, if we can find, land. Maybe Molokai wants one, although they do have state ag parks. So I think that would benefit the county.
And then I think we were anticipating lot 30 and 31 of Kula Ag Park would be rented out by now. Has that occurred?
No, that hasn't been leased out. The lots through litigation were returned to the county. We are intending to move into Lot 31 to have presence in the Kula Ag Park and to show support for our tenants there. Lot 30 will eventually be out for applications, but there's code changes that need to happen as recommended by our Corp Council in Kula Ag Park.
Do you need our assistance with those code changes, or you're drafting the code changes?
We're drafting it with our Corp Council at the moment.
Okay.
And then we'll review it, or we'll share it with council.
Okay, because we thought the thing would be available for solicitation at the end of April last year.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just, our Corp Council has other departments, and it's just a waiting game. And I know they're working very hard, and we're just, giving them respect to do what they need to do.
Thank you.
Okay, for my round of questioning, Director, I noticed your slide about the grants, and that's what I'm curious about, is it says 61 grants were awarded, but you have 136 active grants in addition to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm trying to get, the root of my question will be the needs of the community. Do you feel like there was a lot of people applied and you could only give out X amount of grants, but there was a big number of applicants? Can you talk about the number of applicants for these particular grants?
Yes, thank you for the question, Chair. I'll give what I know. I understood from the grants team that there were a large number of grant applications, and I guess based on the scoring criteria that would have determined the amount of award and who would or would not get awarded. But Anna may be able to add more to that answer.
Yes, I have actually a few figures to provide. For fiscal year 26, we actually did receive 91 applications, and we were only able to award 50, let me look back over here. 57 of competitive opportunities. So we do have quite a bit of a demand, but because we have a criteria to follow for evaluation and scoring grants, we were only able to award 61 grants for fiscal year 26.
Okay, would you be open to having the pot a little bit bigger so you can bring in more applicants?
May I add on that before you add, Anna? Yes, if we can have more EPs, because currently we're running it with 2 GMPSs and 1 grant coordinator, and we're definitely needing an accountant or 2 and more GMPS specialists.
Okay, fair enough. The Food as Medicine partnership was impressive. Are you working with community health centers, the federal community health centers? And if so, are they talking about their budgets getting cut and everything?
Thank you. Lauren, would you be able to address that question?
Great question, Chair. The RFP will be open to all healthcare providers, including federally qualified health centers and Native Hawaiian health centers, and we encourage everyone to apply. We'll be doing outreach when the RFP is open in April.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm gonna go back to the grants, specifically the farm to family grants. Can you guys remind me the number of grants applicants and number of who received? Was it less than 5, I think, who received that? Can you guys tell me the number?
Thank you. I believe it was 5. Anna or Lauren can,
We award,
go ahead.
we received 15 applications and we were able to award 5.
That's right. Okay. Again, it seems like there's a big need, and if, and I understand if staffing is correct, then you could probably expand that fund. All right, and that's my time. The time's up. So second round, members. We have second round. How about we go, Councilmember Sinensi?
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, I agree. If there is any need to invest in our community, this is the department that we should. I think the discussion when we did create the department is how much the State Department of Agriculture invested in our agriculture system. 0.5% of the monies. I think they failed when their idea was expanding agriculture was to rent out our important ag lands to outside, seed companies. That was the plan back in the day. So I think you guys are working on establishing the infrastructure to build up that program. It was always a big agriculture community, but because of the shortfalls, now we're having to start all over again. So hence more investment into this department. You mentioned county codes, and I know that is it chapter 18 agriculture?
Chapter 19.
Chapter 19. A lot of the codes are still stuck in old plantation era, monocropping.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's 22.
Are you looking at changing some of those codes, because those are still stuck in the plantation era, and a lot of those codes are just for monocropping, sugar, and pineapple. And right now we see that there's a need for diversified agriculture where, we don't want big crops that attract all of the invasives. We want to use, composting and smaller types of farming. So are you addressing some of these county code changes?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Right, currently now we're going through Bill 160 and we're working on that. Then we'll go back to our chapter and go through it one by one. And we've really been working on the section with all the, the A through N and all the duties that we're supposed to do. And we realized that we've been addressing each of them. So that might change a little just to be focused on the Maui County needs. But currently we're working on Bill 160.
Okay, thank you for that. And then for the grants, you mentioned that some of the smaller nonprofits that cannot start up monies and then get the reimbursements. Are there any financial institutions out there that are willing to fund small farms or invest into the small farming?
I believe there are pots of money available. I think as Anna had pointed out in her priorities was to educate financial literacy education on our farming community so they know that there are other resources out there. But at the same time, we don't want to have our agriculture community dependent on our funding and eventually be weaned off. Anna might be able to add more on the side if you request a question in writing.
Okay, and then real quick, Chair.
Okay.
We see the federal government cut drastically the funds to farmers and to other countries. Are there any federal grants available? I mean, we are looking for those big grants that can really put in the infrastructure, whether it be water infrastructure, CIPs.
Yeah, thank you for the question. We just offered the position the grants management position, and it has 30 or 40% FTE towards seeking for grant funding and writing to secure for the department in order to have federal funding. And we do know that our department was developed to be self-sustaining, so that will be a start. And that was a difficult thing for us to do, but there are funding out there. We just we didn't have the staffing capacity.
Okay,
Oh, one more. I think she wanted.
go ahead.
Sorry. And also, I just recently was talking with NRCS, and they actually have received, quite a lot of funding, so they are feeling very excited about going forward. And of course, they provide irrigation infrastructure and all that kind of stuff to support to farmers. So they're okay right now.
That's good.
Okay, great.
But theirs is cost share as well, so the farmer would have to come up with 100%
see.
before they get reimbursed.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Chair Malo, for that leeway.
Okay, Councilmember Batangan, any questions?
Thank you, Chair. None from me.
Okay, I'm just going to go down the line here. So Councilmember Paulton, any questions for the department?
Thank you. I was wondering, I trying to pay attention to what goes on worldwide, and the Strait of Hormuz, they're kind of not using that, and they were saying not only oil but also like fertilizer inputs and like that. Are we working on creating those inputs locally, maybe organically, without the petroleum bases? Because we got a lot of manure here that I see from certain areas.
Director?
Thank you for the question. We do know that Department of Environmental Management, we work closely together. Cecile has been looking into biochar. She's working with some.
Is the Strait of Hormuz affecting our ability to get
I
fertilizer?
don't know about that. I can't answer that. But in terms of
Some more environmental management.
yeah, local created, I know
And
they
then-
have a handle on that as well as composting.
My
But
other
we'll support the farmers, the producers.
My other question was, Member Johnson, the chair, said about 61 current and 136 grants reviewing from 2023. Are you evaluating, when we gave out the COVID money, plenty of people were getting into farming because everything was shut down. But then it seemed as though some of those that got the micro grants went back to their regular system when COVID kind of slowed down. Are you reviewing with the 23, 24, 25 grants, if they're still doing farming, if they're expanding, if they're doing more, since you still have those to close out?
Director?
Yeah, thank you for the question. That's an excellent question. I've had expressed that to our grants team that I do want to see from day one when we started. All the grants that we assumed from Office of Economic Development, I want to see where they are and how did the funding improve and where they are now, where they were and where they are now. So our team is working on some system to develop a system to see those metrics.
And if you can project it in which you pick that this is touching this entity is gonna pay off in bigger dividends down the year, or this is just a niche thing where they might want to do farming for 1 year and then next year they do something else.
Yeah, I believe once we collect that data to see each project, where they were and where they are now, then we'll move to the next step would be, what do we do with this data? How can we utilize our funding to make sure that the ones that are actually helping the county meet their goals in reducing the imported food? I think we'll tailor it towards that.
And then Representative Case was saying SNAP and Medicaid cuts. So I just wanted to commend your food as medicine, and if we can link it to those things, food as medicine, Medicaid cuts, SNAP cuts, and locally grown, if we can perpetuate that, because I don't think those guys care too much about us except for military expansionist ideas over here. So we got to feed ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. And Lauren is connecting those two together. She is, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that line of questioning. We're going to move on to Chair Lee, followed by Councilmember Cook. Chair Lee?
Thank you. Oh, and by the way, Director, I'm becoming an expert with feral cats. If you just saw the screen, I had one. And the trouble is that they're very expensive. Mine just had an $858 surgery. So I'm looking for a second job, just in case you need grants managers or something. But speaking of grants managers, okay, so is the issue only that you don't have enough staff Or is it the system itself that is so slow because being a prior director, I know people don't understand it not only goes through, applications not only go through your department, but they're reviewed twice by Corp Counsel, the budget office, the finance office, and so forth. Is it that system that's causing the backup?
Director?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Chair Lee. That is one of the problems, but also if you recall, my budget is in grants 14.356 million of my total budget of 16.4. Majority of my budget is in grant subsidy, and with 2 grant managers, it's a bit overwhelming. And also our grant coordinator has to not only coordinate, but she also has to be the financial accountant for all of these. So we see gaps in our system. We're happy to give up money, but we just need to develop the amount of staff that can, manage it comprehensively.
So you must have a healthy carryover savings then.
Director?
Yeah, I believe we have some carryover savings, and part of it is attributed to, the positions which take a long time to develop. Because we are new, we don't have classes that have any relatable tasks. So we've developed like 4 new classes, and that does take time, but also I believe we've done it the fastest and filled it the fastest.
Okay, do you need any more positions?
Director?
Yes.
Beyond what the mayor is proposing?
Yes, we do, especially in grants. We are asking for an accountant or 2 and at least 1 more grant manager. Like, I want to be, I don't want to ask for like too much, but because I don't want to overcommit, but yes, we do need more staff. Not only there, but I do see a gap in the animal area, aquaculture, bees, livestock. That is an area that we also need to develop.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good line of questioning. Let's move on to Councilmember Tom Cook, followed by Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director. Hopefully, between the state and the county, we can come up with a way to address the feral chickens. I think we'd make a lot of money if we just put like a $10 bounty on each one. And then everybody would be getting them. And the thing, I've discovered this. Don't ask what you do with them after you catch them. Because
I was trying to.
that's the problem. No, that's the problem. You get into like cruelty to animals and all this other kind of stuff, and it's like, what about the health for the community and sanitation in restaurants and sanitation at stores and the fact that they go on public property on a sidewalk on the road, then they walk on the private property, and then they go across to somebody else's property. It seems like our government is being very unrealistic as far as the rights that they're giving chickens. So I'm hopeful that we all collectively can work on it and acknowledge the Department of Agriculture. Thank you for all you're doing, young department growing. And I would just, Director, I really like the fact, I think all 3 times that I've heard you come, you've said, I don't want to over commit. And I told you once, you're the first director who's offered money and you go, no, not this year. And I think that's a very big sign of your responsible management. And I just wanted to give you credit for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, Councilmember. Okay, let's move on to Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Member Cook. Sometimes I have to just tell my kids the animals go to the big farm in the sky and we move on. But other than that, I really don't have any other questions. Thank you so much for scheduling this, Chair, and thank you, Department of Ag, for all the good work you're doing. I really do appreciate your passion and hard work. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well said. I guess I'm last, so Director, the Humane Society grant, stuck in your department, would you say? It doesn't seem to fit your department, it seems departments have been playing hot potato with this. What do you consider these?
Thank you for the question. Like I've said before, if management gives it to us, then we're gonna manage it.
Does it take up a lot of your time?
But it does, well, the Maui Humane Society grants are pretty spelled out and, you know, it seems to be just award them, you know. But however, we wanna focus on agriculture, you know, livestock animals.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the Maui Humane Society already has like a simple system to award. In the beginning, I think it was a bit burdensome, but we have a really awesome grant team, and I think we're managing at the moment. But more money we manage, we need more people.
Understandable. You made it very clear to the body, and I think that's important to do that. That's the end of my line of questionings. Any last chance, because I'd like to move on to the next agenda and thank the department. I don't see any hands, so.
Oh, I just had one last question
Councilmember Paul.
about the HARF resources. I think HARF dissolved. Are you guys overseeing their resources? Like, I think the county was contributing to their big barn and stuff like that.
Director.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I hate to say, what is HARF?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was like Hawaii Animal Rescue Foundation, and the main lady that was like, they did the other animals besides just like dogs and cats. I think they did like
Okay,
horses.
I think Anna can answer that. I recall Koa talking to me about that, but he oversees the grants team. And Anna, are you still on? Do you have a response on that?
Yes, thank you for the question. We have not assumed any responsibility for HARF. I have heard of them in the past, but yes, we do not, we have not assumed any resources.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm not sure what happened to that, because we like paid money for a barn or something.
Right. Do you want us to have the committee look into that question for you?
Yeah, maybe if can.
And I see staff nodding their head. Do you understand the question? Okay, we'll follow up.
Thank you.
All right, members. Really appreciate these lines of questioning, and department, you guys are rock stars. Thanks for doing what you do. Keep up that fire.
Thank you.
And let's see. Any objections if I defer this item, members? Okay, this item is now deferred, and we'll move on to the next one. Thank you once again. We're going to take a 5-minute recess, if you guys, so that we can switch out. Just 5 minutes, members. 5 minutes. The time is 10:26. Time is 10:27. We will come back at 10:32 a.m. Aloha, members. Will the ADEPT Committee of 3/12/2026 come back to order from our short recess as we switch topics? And the next fascinating topic is operational and budgetary review of watershed protection grants administered by the Department of Water Supply, ADEPT 1(5). I see the director on the call, so happy. Here we go. Members, water is life, and these watershed protection grants help to ensure our water sources are clean, healthy, and sustainable. Again, with the budget session coming soon, I want to hear about the FY26 operations and budget and learn about any needs for upcoming 27. Ms. Blumenstein, Mr. DeRobles, as well as Director Stuffelbein, thank you all for being here today. And if you're ready to present, we're all ears.
Thank you, Chair. Well said, and I'll turn it right over to Robert, who is our grant who manages the program, and he has the presentation. Thank you.
Great. So let me see. Let me share my screen here, I guess.
Robert, if you don't mind, can you pronounce your last name for me so I am getting it right?
Sure, Robert D. Robles.
Got it. Okay. Go me.
Okay. You give me 1 second, I'll share the screen. I wasn't sure if you guys were going to put it up. Okay. Well, can everybody see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So good morning, committee chair and committee members. Thank you for having me here today to provide a quick update of the fiscal year 2026 DWS Watershed Protection Grants Program and upcoming fiscal year 2027 priorities and opportunities. The purpose of the Watershed Protection Grants Program is protect forested watersheds, providing ecosystem services for essential groundwater source recharge, to control feral ungulates like feral pigs and axis deer, to combat invasive non-native plant species, to protect priority upper watersheds with fencing, to reduce ladder fuels in the wildland-urban interface, or the WUI, and to promote community engagement. So every year we advertise an RFP, which is all the proposals are evaluated by committee. What we expect are detailed proposals, qualified and existing project applicants, and a wildland urban interface strategy, all of which are meant to promote delivering water from forest to faucet. So we currently have 10 grantees and expect to approve one new applicant in fiscal year 2027. Our current grantees are East Maui Watershed Partnership, Pu'ukakui Watershed Preserve, Waikamoe Source Protection and Watershed Preserve Management, Honokawai and Wahikuli Source Protection, East Molokai Watershed Partnership, Monakahalavai Watershed Partnership, Oahe Forest Restoration Project, Myconium Invasive Species Containment Project, MISC, and developing wilt-resistant acacia koa for Maui Watershed Restoration by HARC, and developing disease-resistant ohia for Maui Watershed Protection on Maui by HARC. Oh, I'm not sure if you could see this. It's not showing up here. Well, this slide here is currently blank. I don't know why it's not showing.
Oh.
I'm not sure. Can everybody see this map?
It was there for a moment and then it disappeared. But maybe you can just talk us through. Oh, I thought I saw something.
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. But
that's okay.
Anyway, it's supposed to be a map here indicating all the locations of our watershed partners. We cover hundreds of thousands of acres. At any given time, they're covering about 10 to 15% of those lands, depending on the size. Like East Maui Watershed Partnership covers over 100,000 acres, but any given time may cover 12,000. So as they get smaller, they're able to cover more ground every year. Oh, now it's showing. Okay, this is kind of strange. I'm sorry,
If you like, well, now it's showing. If you like, the staff could present that. Is that correct, staff? Are you able to pull it up?
Chair, we do have the presentation downloaded on our end, so we could also screen share as well.
Do you want us to do that?
Sure, maybe this is
It could be
not,
weather related.
functioning.
Yeah. Why don't we just, if you close yours out and let these guys set
Sure.
it up, is that okay? You guys can handle that?
Absolutely.
Jared's got it coming up there.
Okay, so I guess we
There you
could move on to the next slide since I already mentioned this one. Okay. So we monitor grantee projects over 4 quarters every fiscal year, and which includes reviewing reports for consistency and substantive updates, correlate expenditures, address project issues, ensure that online amplified submissions are accurate and timely, check for issues that may prevent tasks from being accomplished. And just to go over quickly the main deliverables that we support, ungulate control, fencing, invasive plant control, vegetation and planting, resource monitoring and research, and community outreach. We have 2 grantees, HARC and MISC, that only cover certain aspects of the deliverables that's mentioned here. Next. So without breaking down each award and anticipated funding for FY27, FY26 awards total about $3,511,125. FY27 proposals grew a bit to about $4,642,255. These are proposals, and the FY27 requested amounts, it drops to a total of $3,861,269. Next. The FY27 requested amounts, as I should have mentioned this earlier, includes a Kula Community Watershed Alliance, still waiting for their IRS to issue their 501c3 nonprofit documents to qualify for our grant, but communications with them indicates that they should be getting that sometime this year, which will make an exception and have them as a grantee for FY27. Starting in January 2027. So all current grantees, I'm sorry, can you go back one? So all current grantees are preparing right now for the status of FY26. They're preparing to, we're preparing to process arriving first quarter FY26 first quarter reports and requests for payments at the end of March 2026, so end of this month. We have only 3 applicants right now from all University of Hawaii for FY26 that we haven't issued an NTP for due to a requested amendment to their contract. But this issue has been resolved as of last week. So we're processing their contracts for execution, hopefully in the following week or 2. Okay, next. So here we have a few before and after pictures, just to give an idea of the kind of work that's being done in the upper watersheds. Before and after pictures from Hawaii Forest, Waikamoi, East Molokai, and also Mauna Ka'alavai. And so the hard work, as you can see, is evident here. It's hard work. I don't think a lot of people understand just how hard the work is. There's a lot of turnover, because you're out there every day, rain or shine, trying to do this work, and we appreciate what they're doing. Next. As mentioned earlier, it's hard work in the watersheds, and we continue each year on January 1st to December 31st, so that we issue an NTP every January to December, and there are some not issues, but everything we analyze every year to determine how they're doing. So for FY 2026, operational costs are on the rise a little bit. And then also, there's also ongoing staff turnover it's just persistent because of the nature of the job, which requires retraining and operations onboarding. So a lot of times we get a lot of turnover with our grantees, and we have to kind of, not us, but the grantee staff themselves have to retrain their staff, and it takes a toll sometimes, but we're working through that. Grantees are continuing to expand and improve their operations in the wildland urban interface in West Maui and East Maui. PKW, Aloha Pukukui, established the first private endowment amongst our grantees to ensure the project's survival. So we're really happy about that. And Waikamoi, TNC, they don't do work in the WUI, but received outside funding to pilot a biochar, charcoal-like product from invasive trees and plant species to create useful products for carbon sequestration amongst amending soil and post-remediation for community needs. So hoping that something good comes out of that. And next, please. So priorities and opportunities for FY27. Based on our experience and discussions we've had with our grantees, we're still encouraging all grantees to standardize data collection methods for consistency. So technology is on the rise, and we want to make sure that we're able to collect data and information accurately for our program analysis and for the benefit of our grantees. To continue and encourage grantees to practice acceptable accounting practices. So a lot of times we have to go back and forth to make sure that everything is submitted properly and documented. Expand before and after photos for project areas to increase efficacy measurements. So last couple of years, we required grantees to submit before and after pictures, since we can't always be on the ground to see progress. As you can see from the last few slides with the before and after pictures, some of the pictures are really dramatic and helps us understand what's going on. As costs rise, we would like to hire a consultant to conduct an efficacy study evaluating the progress and effectiveness of grant projects. Establish a watershed protection grant committee composed of program grantees. We've had preliminary discussions with some grantees now who are willing to develop that committee, and to develop a competitive nationwide internship program with grantees to support watershed initiatives and maintain a steady pipeline of qualified candidates. A lot of times our grantees have openings that can't be filled for a year or longer, mainly because there's not enough people to hire on the island. They go out and try to hire locally, but sometimes the qualifications and the pool of candidates is just not there. The Kula Community Watershed Alliance is also preparing their compliance documents that I mentioned earlier for this program to restore and mitigate wildfire risks. So we're trying to work with them, and we've sent them a supporting letter so they could get their 501c3, and to encourage grantees to establish endowments like PKW or Pu'ukakui. Next, please. So here's just a few pictures of some of the community outreach and some of the benefits received by the community through our grants program and watershed partners. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. We're going to move on to public testimony for this item. At this time, if there's anyone wishing to testify on this item, please use the raise your hand function and you will be called upon to testify. Staff, is there anyone wishing to testify?
Chair, there's no individual signed up to testify, but I see one person approaching the podium.
Aloha, J.C. Law from Kula-Uka, Waiko Aho Poa'a. Just to be consistent, Mr. Chair, I was going to kind of skip this one, go to the store and get something to eat, but I really just wanted to stand up and support my Department of Water Supply and Pono Ole.
Right.
just something like that. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
your time,
JC.
or save the rest of my time for the Hawaiian peoples.
Okay. Staff, do we have any other testifiers?
Thank you, Chair. There's one individual on Teams. It's Johan Lal, and he's unmuted on our end. He just needs to unmute himself and begin his testimony. Thanks.
I see you, Mr. Law. Are you ready to testify?
Yeah, aloha, Johan Lal. I'm testifying on my own behalf, and I wanted to comment on this super important topic. I myself worked in watershed conservation on Oahu, and I can attest to the issues with like turnover and all of that. So, you know, this is one area where there's really great opportunity to create jobs, especially for like locals who are like straight out of high school, straight out of college, and have a lot of those skills if they studied resource management or anything like that. There's an opportunity to create internships and all of that, and have more people stay in Hawaii to do work rather than go to the mainland and do STEM and all that over there. So if you guys can find any way to provide more funding, that would be like, it's not just win-win, it's like win-win-win-win, because water is so important for agriculture, for development, and in my opinion, there's a huge need for even way more housing than is planned, and that's going to require water. So, if this grows, it's going to help in so many different ways. So that's my 2 cents. Mahalo.
Well said, you, Mr. Law. Members, do we have any clarifying questions for our testifier? I don't see any hands, so thank you once again for your testimony. Staff, would you call the next testifier, please?
Chair, that's all the individuals signed up to testify. If anyone in the audience or Teams would like to testify, please come up to the mic and begin your testimony, or use the raise your hand function on Teams and staff will unmute you. Here's a brief countdown. 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated that they wish to testify.
Okay, members, seeing there's no one else wishing to testify, are there any objections to me closing public testimony for this item? Okay, I don't see any objections, so members, I'll now close public testimony for this particular item and jump into our deliberations on operational and budgetary review of watershed protection grants administered by the Department of Water Supply. I propose 3 minutes per council member for each round of discussion, and Councilmember Sinensi has left the building, so we're going to move on with Committee Member Batangan, followed by Councilmember Hodgins.
Thank you, Chair. No questions. Just want to mahalo the department for their hard work and our partners as well.
Well said. Councilmember Hodges, followed by Councilmember Cook.
Thank you, Chair. I too really don't have any questions. I know the department works really well with their grantees, so thank you so much for all that you guys do. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, great. Moving down the list, we have Councilmember Cook, followed by Chair Lee.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Department, for your presentation and your work. Your presentation showed that you're very responsible in your review of the applicants, and I see that like UH also is reviewing. Very supportive of the program. I think we need to do more of it. It is work that is, I've walked up there on a tour with MISC, and it was a dry day and it was hard. So I'm very supportive of funding it, and I'm hoping that we could somehow, some way get some permanency in the labor. As Mr. Law was saying, it's an opportunity, but it's a really hard job, so it would have to have some, a bit of a future to it to be able to stick it out. But I don't really have any thing to say besides being supportive. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Cook. We're going to move on to Chair Lee, followed by Councilmember Paul.
Thank you for the presentation. I have no questions. Thank you.
All right, moving along. Councilmember Paulton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. DeRobos, for your presentation. I was wondering if you can go into a little more detail about the contract amendment that University of Hawaii is requesting.
Yeah, good question.
Great, thank you for the question. It's a good question. Well, we have this issue with UH sometimes where they want to change the indemnification. So we ask them to indemnify the county. regarding the hard work, because this type of grant is different from other grants. People are, rappelling off of helicopters and doing a lot of dangerous work that we want to make sure the county is identified. So the state doesn't always feel like they should be indemnified.
Oh, trust, I had an issue with them about a unilateral agreement. I know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, so it happens, but we work through it, and a lot of times it happens. It happens about every 2 or 3 years where somebody new comes in, UH, and doesn't understand the negotiations that we just previously had, and they want to go over it and make it a long process to get signatures. And but after that is another 2 or 3 years until they have turnover. So, but
Thank
we're
you
working
for
through
that.
it, and we should be processing it. Yeah.
And then, can you tell me what the quarter timelines are? If it's just processing first quarter payments now in March, what are the quarter delineations?
So that's a really good question. We actually, before the grants would start, NTPs would start with individual grantees any time of the year, and it created a lot of overlap problems. So that's why I mentioned January 1st, December 31st. So basically every 3 months they submit. So end of March, they would submit a request, a report, and a request for payment. And then they have about 30 days to reconcile that if they need to. Sometimes they submit early, sometimes they submit late, but they always try to be in communication with us regarding that. And then the final payment or final report is not due until 90 days after December 31st. So we're just starting to close FY25, for example, right, from last year. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And then I think my last question is, do you know the percent of the whole that their budget is? Certain watersheds get $1 million plus, others get less than $1 million. But do you also track how much other money they're able to hustle, or what percent of their entire budget that the county is providing? And if I'm stoked on Pu'ukukui doing their endowment thing, but are we moving all of them towards that? Is that a possibility?
Well, the endowments are established between Pu'ukukui, MLP, and private investors. So it really is depending on the location, and if landowners feel like they have a benefit for this type of work. We're encouraging it, but it's never been done before. I think Pu'ukukui is an example. And then with regards to the outside funders, there are, and we track that. So in our application process, we ask them to disclose how much funding they're getting outside of our funding stream.
Thank you so much. I heard the timer. Great presentation. Love the pictures.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for that line of questioning, Councilmember. So for my turn, first off, thank you for your presentation, and thank you for the work that you guys do on the mountain. I'm so energized to work on the Naulu Cloud Bridge on this upcoming budget, and to see the work that you guys are already doing by helping partners to do that kind of work is great, but we need to do more, of course. Now, having said that, I'm really the testifier Johan Lau worked in conservation, and I too worked in conservation, and what his struggle was my struggle. They just didn't pay conservation workers the wages that you could make in a hotel, and that's so frustrating for me to get trained, like you say, for the helicopter training or the training to do fencing and how to manage, all the training that's involved, and the wages are just so low. People got to understand that that's not the right way to do things. So is there a possibility to do grants with a stipend, like a housing stipend or something to help bump the wages up? Anything. I'm just trying to hear you guys' feedback on what your feelings are for that.
Okay, thanks for the question. It's a good question. It's something we've been discussing over the years. So just to be clear, like you mentioned, it's hard work. So it's not always about the amount of money, but just the difficulty of work. And as they creep and expand their scope of work, there's more stress on the worker themselves up in the mountains. So they could be out there for 2 or 3 days and then come back there completely exhausted. But we have talked about certain aspects. Pukukui and some other grantees have had in the past workforce housing or some kind of, place that people could stay temporarily. But, since the fires and everything, it's been a little bit harder to do that. But I also mentioned the internship program to hopefully have some kind of constant stream of applicants. And I do acknowledge that we need to hire locally. It's important to hire locally, but a lot of times, again, they're not able to fill those positions with local participants or, applicants. So we're trying to expand that, and we're exploring how we could do that. But unfortunately, it's not always money.
I'll give you an example. My daughter is an intern at Haleakala, and her wages are so low, she can apply for SNAP. I mean, that's not, I don't think that's the best way for folks, right? But that being said, I wanted to ask something about a different topic, the WUI, right? In your slideshow, it said you guys are working on WUI in West Maui and was it Wailuku or Central? East Maui, thank you. Why not South Maui? For me, in my mind, I look at South Maui and the WUI is right there. There's literally ranch land, the highway, and then the town. I mean, it wasn't mentioned, so maybe, I see Ms. Blumenstein on, so maybe you can clarify on that.
Let me just take a stab at it first, and then I'll just continue, Rob. Thank you for the question, Chair. We have encouraged all existing grantees and new applicants to expand their work where possible into the wildland-urban interface, but it also has to have the connection to the water supply and the resources that we tap into and our customer, because these are 100% rate funded grants. So we're hoping to take on the Kula Community Watershed Alliance, which is really a great example of restoration work in the WUI. So that is Makua Aquifer, which, it benefits, of course, customers in Makua, but it indirectly benefits the watershed and all the way Makai, right? So it just have to have that connection to our customers and our system, but we are kind of lenient in the type of restoration work that could benefit the resource or just prevent wildfires.
Okay.
I'll let you finish, Rob. Thanks.
Good point, Eva. And so right now, the WUI is really that urban interface, right, between the forest, wildland urban interface. So we've never really had a Maukada Makai connection because these are essential critical watersheds we're working in, upper watersheds above 3,500 feet and above. But we are looking into the implications of the work there and below. And so we're still developing, our grantees are still developing that strategy, the WUI strategy. Okay. And like what Ava mentioned, for the Kula Community Watershed Alliance, they're doing work now. And hopefully we get them on board and have something new like this. Okay. We don't have many grantees come up, applicants all the time. So
I understand.
We're excited about it.
Well, let me follow up on that. You listed a total of FY27 grant proposals on slide 7. And just to be sure there's any proposals submitted to the department that were not included on the list. I'm just trying to ballpark total funding needs for the watershed. What do you think?
Right, no, that includes the $250,000 was included in our ask for FY27. It's just that we're waiting for Kula Community Watershed Alliance to submit the proper documentation so they can qualify to receive funding.
If there's additional funding in the pot in the budget for forestry, not necessarily in the Department of Water Supply, would the department be willing to refer applicants to that department and fund so that they can meet their funding gaps? I see Eva nodding her head. Yeah, you guys are working with, find all the pots of money, right? So with the grantees.
Yeah. Well, the one thing just to keep in mind is we do talk about these things all the time with our grantees. It's just we want to make sure that their staff is not stretched too thin regarding the scope of work that they propose to us. We try to be realistic, and hopefully if funding was made more available, they could hire more people. But then again, we get into that conundrum, right, of how to hire more people and keep staff. So it's a vicious cycle.
Okay, well, thank you for that first round of questions. A lot of members didn't have a first round, so I'll just do a raise hands. Anybody have questions for second round? You can raise your hands. I don't see anybody with their hand raised, so members, I think they did a great job presenting, and I want to thank you for your time, department. That's a sign of a good presentation. You guys, we squashed all our questions, so thank you so much once again for all the work you do. Mahalo. Members, if there's no objections, I'll defer this item. Okay. I didn't see any objections. All right.
No objection.
So next we have environmental review, and they're in the chamber, so we won't take a recess if you don't mind. We'll just go on through for this one because they're here and they're ready to rock and roll. All right. The next agenda item, as they come down and take their seats, is operational and budgetary review of the Environmental Protection and Sustainability Division of the Department of Environmental Management, ADEPT 1(3). Members, this division has the task of guiding, leading, and implementing our county's environmental initiatives, including natural resource protection, sustainability, conservation, and restoration efforts. In response to the climate emergency and recognizing our island's unique and fragile ecosystems, the work this division does is of the utmost importance. Through their green grant and recycling programs, support for this division in turn supports our community partners who are putting in the work, boots on the ground, to care for our land, water, and air. We have today Deputy Director Peterson and Ms. Powell, and thank you for joining us today. And if you're ready, please proceed with your presentation.
Good morning, Chair, Council members. My name is Mike Peterson, Deputy Director, Department of Environmental Management. Next to me, we have Cecile Powell, our EP&S Division Manager. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the EP&S Division. Today's presentation will summarize our current operating budget, our grant management scope, and goals and priorities for 2027. Our work focuses on protecting the county's natural resources, ensuring compliance with environmental regulations, and advancing sustainability initiatives that support long-term environmental and community resilience. As we move on to the next fiscal year, we remain committed to strengthening our programs, improving operational efficiency, and aligning our initiatives with the county's broader environmental and climate objectives. With this body's continued support, we look forward to discussing our progress and resources needed to effectively carry out this important work. I'll let Cecile Powell present the details on budget, grants, and upcoming goals.
Thank you, Deputy. And thank you, Chair. So we have the environmental protection and sustainability. I did want to mention here that it was part of a charter amendment back in 2012 aimed to guide and fund environmental initiatives around natural resource protection, sustainability, conservation, and restoration. So through that, we foster partnerships with government agencies and the community leaders to support innovative programming and community-based initiatives in public education. So we are committed to building a sustainable community with Malama Aina as its guiding principle. This slide is showing our FY26 operating budget status as of, let's see here, the 2nd of March. We do anticipate using all funding by the end of this fiscal year. Maybe not every penny, but pretty close. And you can see the first 6 index codes at the top are our general funds. And we have a subtotal there. And then the bottom two index codes are showing our revolving funds. Next slide, please. Our grant program consists of about $9 million this fiscal year. $2.7 million is of competitive grant funding, which is the majority of our grants programming. We have environmental and green grants, green building and resilience housing grants, wetland restoration, renewable energy, recycling, highway beautification, and then we have a series of provisos. You can see descriptions underneath each one. I know I don't need to go into detail. Next slide, please. So now the following pages, each one has its own, each type of grant funding source has its own slide. So the first one is the environmental and green grants. The total funding is $460,000 for FY26, and we did receive over $1.8 million in grants applications. And you see a list of the grantees that were selected through the Grants Review Committee. And please note that the Grants Review Committee that selected these grants, these competitive grants, it was the same committee that selected all of the EP&S grants for FY26. Next slide, please. Green building and resilience housing. Our approved funding was $100,000 and the applications we received was $240,000. Next slide, please. Wetland restoration. The approved funding was $800,000. The total applications we received was $1.5 million. Next slide, please. Renewable energy. We did get approved funding for $100,000, and the applications we received was $276,000. And the list of grantees are there, of course. Next slide. Recycling. So the approved funding for FY26 was $1 million. We received just under $5 million in applications, and the grantees are listed here, totaling a little over $1 million. Next slide. Highway beautification, approved funding $300,000. Total applications received was $300,000. Highway beautification is funded through revolving. Side note. Next slide. And this is a list of our proviso grantees, totaling $6.4 million. And the status of each one is there in case you have questions. Next slide. So these are FY26 grants awarded to Department of Environmental Management. So we do have a State Department of Agriculture grant for $200,000 for CRB mitigation, and that is to develop a compost facility out in Hana. We received $3.6 million for a West Maui Recycling Center from the Environmental Protection and Sustainability, the EPA. I'm not saying that right. Environmental Protection Agency. There we go. And we also got a State Department of Health pending $200,000 award for electronic recycling education and outreach, and another $180,000 award pending from the State Department of Health for a glass disposal fee. Next slide. Our expansions for FY27, I know that this meeting is not about our expansion requests, so this is just a quick summary. And I can't read it, hold on. Increased participation of our tow and scrap program. We're launching an environmental podcast and speaker series. Continuing to develop a facility at the San Chamaya landfill for our compost and the Greasilla system. And continuing to build our EP&S team. We'll brush over the expansion positions in our next BFED. And we're expanding the grant funding to align with the Climate Action Resiliency Plan. The evaluation criteria for our competitive grants is going to include how it aligns with our Climate Action Resiliency Plan and the measurable outcomes that they are proposing for that. Next slide, please. Oh, that's the end. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your presentation, Department. Now we're going to open up for public testimony. And first off, staff, do we have any testifiers?
Chair, there's no individual signed up to testify, but I see one individual in the chamber who would like to testify.
Do you need me to read the script?
Yes.
All right. Just give me a moment, will you? I'm going to read this script. JC, I know you know everything, but let me just put this in for the record.
If you got to read the script, I'm just not going to testify because they already know what I like. So we'll save time for the staff. We'll go to lunch early. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Any other testifiers?
There is one individual signed up to testify on
I gotta read the
Teams.
script. All right. Okay. Testifiers wanting to provide testimony should sign up for the lobby to join online meetings via the team link or call in the phone number noted on today's agenda. Written testimony is encouraged and can be submitted via the e-comment link to the meeting at mauicounty.us/agendas. For those wishing to testify via Teams, please let staff know by using the raise your hand function. Once you have been added to the testifier log, staff will lower your hand. If calling in, please follow the prompts via phone 5 to raise your hand and lower your hand, and 6 to mute and unmute. Staff will add names to the testifier list in order testifiers sign up or raise their hands. For those on Teams, staff will lower your hand. Once your name is added, staff will then call the name you're logged in or under, or the last 4 digits of your phone number when the time is testified. At that time, the staff will enable your microphone and video. Please ensure your name appears in Microsoft Teams as a name you prefer, or anonymous if you wish to testify anonymously. If you're in person, please notify the staff if you would like to testify anonymously. Otherwise, please state your name for the record at the beginning of testimony. Oral testimony is limited to 3 minutes per item. If you're still testifying beyond that time, you will hear a second timer go off after 30 seconds, and I will kindly ask you to complete your testimony. Once you're done testifying, or if you do not wish to testify, you can view the meeting in Kaku Channel 53, Facebook Live, or Maui County at US/agendas. Thank you all for your cooperation. The chair will maintain decorum at all times. We'll do our best to take each person in an orderly fashion. We'll now call testifiers at the beginning of the meeting. Staff, or at this time, call the testifiers.
Thank you, Chair. The first testifier is on Teams. It's the Royal House of Hawaii. They're unmuted on our end. They would just need to unmute themselves and begin their testimony.
Royal House, are you ready?
Aloha.
Aloha.
Yeah. This is a descendant of the Royal House of Hawaii and allodial land tenant and resident and title holder. And I'm just wondering and testifying if any of the said lands that are being used, if any of the original title holders have been contacted, that were the owners from the Mahele. And yeah, for all the said lands, and because I don't think they've been contacted or anything, because they haven't been contacted, and as you guys should know, all of Hawaii is royal patented, allodial titled. It's mentioned in the TMKs, but are being erased from the TMKs for some odd reason. Online, I don't know why it shows online, but yeah, but I don't know. If you ask for a title history, it shows, but why are they showing it not online though? Because you're supposed to be showing it online.
Okay.
But are any of the oh yeah, it's the titles from the Kingdom of Hawaii, made by Kamehameha III, the original title holders, yeah. And please contact the descendants and heirs.
Okay.
And the descendants of the original title holder. Okay, mahalo.
All right. Well, thank you for your testimony. Let me see if I have any clarifying questions for you. I don't see any hands, so thank you once again for your testimony. We do have a second testifier coming down. And go ahead, J.C. Law.
My apologies, Mr. Chair. I was just trying to save time for everybody. J.C. Law from Koloka. And first of all, I wanted to mention the CARP. That word hasn't been thrown around here for a while, so I'm pretty sure that's in your vocabulary. The Climate Action Resiliency Plan. And my personal testimony for what I wanted to ask was, I've been trying for a while now to track down, there's a rumor to be a curbside recycle up there in Kula in my town. And I've been trying to find that guy and talk with him and maybe get some kind of work with him, even if it's just voluntary. But where do I go? Just walk around Kula and ask, does anybody know the guy, or just stand on the side of the road and look for him? So if anybody can provide me with the contact information, I sure would like to help recycling up in Kula. And if Councilmember Sugimura is watching, maybe she knows.
Okay.
She seems to have everybody's number.
All right, any clarifying questions for our testifiers? Seeing none, thank you once again for your testimony. Staff, is there any other testifiers today?
Thank you, Chair. That's all the individuals signed up to testify. If anyone in the audience or teams would like to testify, please come up to the mic and begin your testimony, or use the raise your hand function on Teams and staff will unmute you. I will provide a brief countdown. 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated that they wish to testify. Oh, I do apologize. There is one individual on Teams signed in as M.
Okay. M, if you're ready to testify, the floor is yours.
Hi, I was just wondering if anybody could provide clarification on funding for open space reserves and if that would ever fall under EPNS.
Open space under EPNS. Okay. Is that the end of your testimony? Okay, any clarifying questions for our testifier? Seeing none, thank you once again for your testimony. Staff, is there any other testifiers?
Thank you, Chair. Nope, that's all the individuals signed up to testify. This is the last call. Please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams if you'd like to testify. And the countdown is 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated that they wish to testify.
Okay, members, seeing there's no one else wishing to testify or any objections to closing testimony on this item. Seeing none, I will now close public testimony. Thank you so much, members. Okay, let's enter deliberation on this item. I propose 3 minutes per council member from each round of discussion. We were starting on this end, so again, we'll go on this side starting over. So start with Councilmember Batangan, followed by Councilmember Paulton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Administration. Can I ask for a little bit more detail on the recycling program? What kind of things do you collect? How do you collect them? What happens to the things that you collect? And how is the county charged for the recycling of the goods that it processes?
Department?
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Chair. So I'll try to keep it short. We have a multiple community recycling drop box centers where it's self-haul and it's what's called source separated. So we have one contractor that manages the sites as far as monitoring and hauling, and that's about $750,000 a year for that contract. And then we have one processor, a MRF, material recovery facility, that processes them. So essentially they bale them and then they ship them off island. If you click on mauicounty.gov/recycle, there is a "Where does my recycling go" button there that will show where our recycling goes and how many tons. I do need to update it, okay? So it has older information, so we will update that for you. And then what was the other question about it?
What are the type of materials that we recycle?
Oh, okay. So we have mixed cardboard, mixed paper, which is new, just a year or two we started doing that. Number 1 and number 2 plastic bottles, bimetal cans, and glass containers. It's basically, it's reliant on the global commodity market, but we are moving towards on-island recycling and to remanufacture commodities to be used on islands, such as glass crushing for fill, and we're looking at a new technology to make pulp out of cardboard that can be used for seating and insulation. I mean, there's a lot. I could give you a whole hour discussion on this. Do you have any specific questions about it?
Actually, you answered it. I was going to follow up with if you had any plans for on-island recycling of the products that you collect, but thank you. And I just want to note that I also understand the challenges of updating our department websites. I feel for you.
All right, great. Okay, let's move on to Councilmember Paulton, followed by Chair Lee.
Thank you. My understanding is the tow and scrap program was halted on electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles temporarily because Hammerhead didn't have capacity to continue storing those batteries. Are we looking to expand capacity? Because as we've seen at Ukumehame, when people don't have a place to dispose of those batteries, which are highly combustible, they'll throw them in the bushes on county land. And there's another abandoned vehicle stockpile just before on the Lahaina side of Cut Mountain cropping up. So is that within your purview of those abandoned vehicles? And are you looking to expand collection of EV batteries?
Department?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Paulton. Yes, we are looking to expand. Right now, it's not necessarily capacity concerns; it's safety concerns because they can explode. You know.
My understanding was they had too much at Hammerheads.
No, currently we utilize the Ukumehame cleanup. The EV batteries that were cleaned up there, we went ahead with our local contractors and brought all of the back stock of EV batteries to that location too. So we handled them all at one time. So the issue is, and where is it going to go? In order to get these on the barge, there's safety concerns with Matson guys. In order for them to be permitted, they need to be essentially deactivated in a salt bath, stripped apart and shredded, and then salt bathed again. And then what's left over is this residual waste that we don't know what to do with. So frankly, it's a lot of...
Are you working at all with Eopala? They had a contract with Redwood Industries to take them to Vegas, I believe.
Yes, we've been working with everyone to come up with a solution as soon as possible. And as far as the cleanups go, we're still receiving and processing EV vehicles through our cleanup abandoned vehicle program. It's just not included in the tow and scrap. We're just asking residents to hold their vehicles until we get our ducks in a row, which should be in a few months.
Is there any way to put this cost on the front end of hybrid and electric vehicle importers?
Like producer responsibility, definitely looking into that bill. I was hoping something was going to be introduced this ledge season, and I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay, and then I saw money for West Maui redemption. How's that coming along? Because I don't know of any place in West Maui that we can redempt our 5 cents.
Yes, we've been working with a local family over in the West Maui. There was a delay in procurement, but we are looking to open soon. It was a fiscal sponsor with the new terms and conditions with the grants program. We're just getting some technicality issues squared away for procurement, and the project is underway.
Do you have an estimated opening date?
We wanted it to be February, but we're looking March, April at this point due to procurement.
Thank you. Heard the bell. Thank you.
Okay, great. Great line of questioning. Let's move on to Chair Lee, followed by Councilmember Cook.
Thank you for the presentation. I have no questions. Thanks.
Okay, let's move on to Councilmember Cook, followed by Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you for your presentation, and I take bottles, cans, cardboards to the Kihei site, and I was really amazed that they do 15,000 tons every other week, 30,000 pounds. I mean, amazing amount. So that's super successful, and that's going off. Is that going off island to the mainland to be recycled?
Department?
Thank you, Councilmember
That's the
Cook.
plastic?
Yes,
Plastic and aluminum.
are you talking about the ADF, the high fives, or are you talking about the commodities?
The high five.
The high fives do go off island. That's a state program, and the redemption centers are required to report to the State Department of Health on where they go. I don't know that offhand. I know about our commodities because that's a local program. And that, again, is on our website, mauicounty.gov/recycle. If you click on where my recycling goes, you can see exactly the remanufacturing plant that our recyclables go to.
Okay, thank you. Could you give me an update, kind of an overview on the green waste is that, like, how many people do we have processing and how many people do you work with on that?
Department?
Are you talking about, am I close enough?
Composting.
The composting at Central Maui Landfill or composting island-wide with our partners, community partners?
Composting island-wide with your community partners.
Okay, great. We have been having a lot of meetings with Hawaiian Compost over on Maʻalaia side. They are producing quite a bit of compost. It's available for sale now. We are looking to submit our solid waste management permit to start composting at the Central Maui landfill very quickly here. It's just in its final stages, and then permit pending, we can start composting on site. We've been working with a grantee to start food waste, producing fertilizer from food waste. We've been working with other grantees that are doing mass waste to micro production for microorganisms. And I'm in process of developing a compost facility in Hana with a local family, as well as we're continuing to support West Maui Green Cycle on the west side. And we have a new grantee for Molokai that we're going to be developing a compost facility over on Molokai as well. It's a mouthful, I know, but if you have more questions, let me know.
Okay, great. Is there any plan for the sewage sludge to be composted? Was that used to be done and now it's not being done? Is that correct?
Department?
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so co-composting with biosolids is included on the permit, so it's going to be dependent on the state. I know there have been concerns over PFAS with that. We are prepared to do aerated static pile and continue that operations, but again, that's permit pending, and we anticipate submitting our permit in the next couple of weeks, our permit application.
Well,
should we not get co-composting, then we are looking at more things like fish emulsion, utilizing local fish waste and making a fertilizer out of that to combine.
Okay. Well, thank you for your presentation. I don't have any further questions, Chair.
Right on the 3-minute mark, Councilmember Cook. Good job. Let's move on to Councilmember Hodgins.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, DEM, for your presentation. I wanted to talk to you about one of the grants that we have in my area, which is Malama Hamakua. I'm pretty sure that was Maile testifying earlier. So we appropriated $50,000 for their trash cleanup this year. As you know, it's county property with open space, and they're tasked with cleaning it, and they do a really good job, but they do need our help. It is our property that they're kind of, at this point in time, more volunteering than anything else. So I just wanted to check on the status of their grant and what can we do to ensure that they get their monies before this fiscal year ends.
Department?
Thank you. That grant is in pre-procurement. We have a team that is putting the grant packet together and working directly with Miley to get that encumbered and get their money out to them as soon as we can, which...
Thank you. No, sorry, go ahead, please.
So we have, this was actually just last month's report that I'm pulling off from, but I do recall signing their grant packet. So it's definitely moved towards draft at this point. So it has maybe like 8 signatures to go. We do have a rush stamped on it. So hopefully we'll get it ratified here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, it takes a couple weeks to get 8 signatures. They have to still be reviewed.
Correct, yes. There is a process, there's a routing process for all grant amendments and initial drafting of grants, yes.
Okay, so they can expect it in a couple weeks. I will let her know. She was emailing us. She's really trying desperately to clean up that place, and she's doing a really good job, as you folks probably know. Is there anything else we can do to support you folks as you guys work your way through all of the grants that you now have to oversee? I know I saw some expansion positions, but is there anything else we could do on our end?
Department?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember. I believe, continued support with our expansion positions, support in the grant process. And I know there's a heightened awareness on grants in general this year. And I think it's all going towards the right direction to get everyone on the same page and to streamline the process. But, you know, we appreciate the support with staff to manage the increased amount of grants that our section or division is having to manage. Cecile, anything to add?
Thank you. Just quickly, streamlining is the key word here. We have a new team and we have new procedures in place from finance and corp council. We're all working as a team to move forward and make sure that FY27 grant season, we're well geared up for it.
Thank you, Chair. If I may, I won't need a second round, but if I could ask just one question.
Please.
Thank you. How do you propose you folks streamline your grant process? I do know that the grants has been an issue. So how are you guys going to streamline your process? I'm excited to hear about it.
Thank you. So am I. I'm excited to share. So it's just identifying how we're standardizing it countywide and just making things as clear and concise as possible from the get-go from our grants information session. Our grants for FY27 are going to go live in April for the competitive ones. And we're just going to be really clear about all of the new procedures in place and the direction and what to expect with all of our grantees, including reporting requirements, proof of payment requirements, and encumbrance pre-procurement requirements so that they can be prepared at the application process so we won't experience hiccups throughout procurement.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Of course. All right, my turn for a round of questions. So really, we're going to get into the grants here. So do you anticipate the proposed expansion budget for grants will increase the number of organizations getting funding? Or will it keep that number about the same but increase the grant amounts? Can you speak to the division's capacity to manage more grantees?
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Chair. It's going to do a little bit of both, but like for instance, the wetland restoration grants, we had to just give 60% to all the the repeat applicants to continue the programs that they were doing. So for instance, that one would just be increasing the grantees. For the sustainability and the environmental and the green grants, it's, including all of the organics operations. Because, recycling is moving to solid waste next year. So we're going to keep all the organics programming and EP&S. We need a budget for that. So it's not necessarily adding extra grantees. It may, because every year we don't know what the grants review committee is going to score and how many grantees are going to be awarded. Yeah. But I anticipate giving more money to around the same amount of folks so that they can be more effective in their programs.
Okay, you had a slide of 100,000 for Kirk. Can you get into the details of what that 100,000 was for? Kaho'olawe Island Reserve Commission.
Yes. Yes, for that one, we are working with them for a feasibility for their irrigation system and to support their ongoing restoration efforts. They're doing replanting in the wetlands area of Kaho'olawe. And I believe that about covers that. They're doing some soil amendments and plantings and just continuing their efforts with that. The 100,000 doesn't really go too far in the grand scheme of things, really.
Are you open to making it more?
Are you open to giving them more?
All right. You have the capacity to do that.
Yes. As far as the capacity for that project, I mean, I wouldn't anticipate the larger figure for the grantees. It takes the same amount of administrative work, a little more administrative work the higher the price tag is on the grants, but for us on the administrative level, we're prepared, and again, we're streamlining everything to make it more easy.
Okay. It's a very important topic for me, and just for everybody I would hope for, is to bring back the Nahulu Cloud Bridge and the work that Kirk is doing over there I think 100,000, we could do more. So just letting you guys know. I think it's very important, and it's something that I'm going to advocate for this upcoming budget. Those are my lines of questions, members. Second round as the weather is getting really gnarly outside. I don't know if you guys can see that, but anybody need a second round question? Do we have any? Councilmember Paulden.
Thank you. I had asked Department of Agriculture about, the fertilizer, like locally grown inputs because of what is going on with the Strait of Hormuz. Are you guys working on anything that would, I don't know if that is affecting our ability to get fertilizer, but that is like petroleum-based fertilizer. Do you guys have any initiatives to help folks over here get locally made fertilizers?
Department?
Yes. We do have a number of grantees that we've worked with over the last couple of years. One is this fiscal year, we provided funding for a $250,000 accelerated digester to turn food into fertilized pellets. And we've also worked with a grantee, Bio Bamboo, out in Mount Alaya side. Charlotte O'Brien actually built 12 bioreactors and has an abundance currently of fertilizer that is available for use. We're also working with Kalima O'Maui for a upcycling agricultural waste using a fish pilot, and we want to expand on that using fish emulsion as a fertilizer. It recently got tested. I can't wait to see the results.
Are they able to distribute it locally
yes.
And replace?
That's the plan. Is we want to develop a distribution plan and how to get it out to the folks who can utilize this.
Thank you. And then my other question on the West Maui Green Cycle, my understanding is they didn't receive the funds. They had to lay off people, and then there was a fire on the site, and so they may not have the site. Do you have an update on that grant?
I believe that we just sent the notice to proceed to Gretchen.
Oh, great.
I will double check on that, but I'm 95% sure. I can update you guys. I can send an email out to you folks with an update.
Okay, and then
I'll text Gretchen too.
The invasive species, how is that going in your coordination with agriculture? Because I know they have a portion of it and you folks have a portion of it. How is the coordination going?
Department?
Thank you. We have a working group. We collaborate a lot together. So, I think that it just happens organically. We just kind of just do our thing and they do their thing and we work together as a team.
What is the biggest concerns in the invasive species groups right at this moment?
Department?
Right now is mitigating coconut rhinoceros beetle. There's been a lot of complaints about coqui frogs, but from environmental perspective, our big concern is, our food source, which coconut rhinoceros beetles will impact that, whereas coqui frogs are a nuisance and they're going to continue to be addressed, but they're not going to impact our food source the way that coconut rhinoceros beetle can.
Are you guys working towards quarantine areas at the harbors and airports and things like that?
I believe that the Department of Agriculture is designing a biosecurity plan. So that's not really our kuleana. We're just providing input and working in collaboration with them, but they're spearheading the biosecurity plan.
Thank you. I heard the bill.
Okay, members, anybody else for a second round? Seeing none, I want to thank the department first for your hard work and thanks for your presentation. As you can see, we had a lot of good questions, a good discussion. So thank you once again for spending time with us today. Members, without objection, can I defer this item? All right. Seeing no objections, this item now is considered deferred. Members, we're going to I wanted to take up Department of Transportation after lunch, but it seems that this weather is kind of maybe making us push it forward, but we don't know yet. I got to hear from them. So I'm going to take a 10-minute recess, sort this out, And I hope if they need to come back at lunch, I hope we're able to. Otherwise, it would be after lunch, but I'm trying to sort out their schedule right now. So just give me 10 minutes, members, and I'll come back on and tell you the plan. Is that okay for you?
Pardon me, Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
The latest update is that they will be able to be online after a 10-minute break.
Okay.
And they won't be available later.
See, that's the thing. Members, they're not going to be available after lunch. So can we just do like a little bit longer and jump into your lunch break, and then we'll be done for the day? Okay? Sound good? I got quorum?
I do have a 12 o'clock meeting.
Okay. You have a 12. Anybody else unable to make this? Okay. Thank you.
I see the Deputy Director online now. If you'd like to maybe take a 2-minute break and we can hear from her about timing, maybe we could.
Okay. Let's just 11:47. We'll come back.
Thank you,
All right?
Chair.
11:47. This meeting is in recess. Aloha, members. Welcome back from that short agenda as we sort out what our path forward, and we're gonna take on our last item on the agenda, which is the budgetary and operational reviews under the ADEPT Committee's jurisdiction plan for today. It is the last one, and it is. Really appreciate you guys for hanging in there with us. We have with us Deputy Director Yogi, Mr. Nakamoto, and Mr. Hane, and help me with your last names, I beg your pardon. Thank you all for being here today. And if you're ready, we'd love to hear your presentation. If you can turn on your camera, and yep, there's a presentation.
Thank you so much for making accommodations for us. I really appreciate it.
I understand the weather's unique, so.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Committee Chair Johnson and committee members. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Diane Yogi. I'm the Deputy Director for Transportation. Also joining me in this meeting is Neo Nakamoto, our Program Specialist 3, and William Haney, who was hired as our second Program Specialist 3 last month. I will be reviewing the department's fiscal year 2026 operations budget. Next slide, please. The following is an organizational chart for our department listing the programs that I will be covering today. Next slide, please. Our department's budget is broken down into 3 funding sources: the general fund, the highway fund, and grant revenue. The general fund covers our administration program, the human services transportation program, the air ambulance program, Park Maui program, and the ferry program. The highway funds covers the Maui bus fixed route, ADA paratransit, and commuter services, as well as the matching funds necessary for the county to secure outside grants. The grant revenue fund covers projects for which we are able to secure grant funding. Next slide, please. Also included in this program are fiscal year 2026 funds for the Maui Economic Opportunity Bus Replacement Program. The increases in salaries are due to salary commission increases, collective bargaining increases, and 3 additional EPs in fiscal year 26. Increase in equipment's budget is for the office furniture for expansion positions. Next slide, please. Our department currently has 11 EPs and 4 vacancies. We are in active recruitment for a plan of 5, which became vacant in February, and a contracts assistant limited term appointment, which became vacant in December. We are also in the process of preparing a recruitment for our grants coordinator, LTA, which became vacant in February. We are also in the final stages of recruitment for an administrative assistant 1 and are awaiting a qualified applicant list from DPS for that position. For operations, MEO is in the process of procuring 14 passenger 2-wheelchair electric bus to support their transition to an electric fleet. Next slide, please. The general fund additionally provides for the Human Services Transportation Program operated by Maui Economic Opportunity, which includes services for senior service transportation, senior nutrition, Maui adult daycare, and youth transportation. Also included is rural shuttles and dialysis. The general fund also funds Maui County services for, Maui County's portion of the air ambulance services. The increase in the Human Services Transportation Program was requested based on actual cost increases related to prevailing wage increases, software licensing fees, vehicle maintenance, and insurance premiums. Next slide, please. Regarding the Human Services Transportation Program, MEO remains dedicated to the ongoing reliability of these essential services and is actively recruiting for drivers to meet the demand. Long-time drivers have since retired, and the ongoing nationwide shortage of CDL drivers has contributed to the difficulty of filling these vacancies. Regarding the air ambulance program, we continue to partner with the State Department of Health for the air ambulance program. The state's contract for the service is over $3 million, and the county's share remains unchanged at $672,215. Next slide, please. The general fund program also funds the Park Maui program and the ferry program. No changes were requested for Park Maui, and funds were requested for the ferry to move the program forward. Next slide, please. The following is an overview of the Park Maui program for fiscal year 2026. For our Wailuku and Town Garage portion, our parking ambassadors launched in Wailuku in August 2025. An ordinance was adopted updating Wailuku paid and permit parking maps, and the Iao Theater parking lot has been restriped and signage for the program has been installed. We began with initial pilot locations at county beaches and parks. We're starting with the Kama'ole 1, 2, and 3 launch for this for beach parks, for county beaches and parks. An ordinance has been adopted updating South Maui paid parking zones. An SMA permit has been approved for pay stations and signage has been installed, and coming soon banners are also installed at the parks. Next slide, please. For commercial towns, the Office of Recovery requested Park Maui's implementation for the Lahaina Harbor reopening. In Lahaina Phase 1 reopening, Park Maui initiated 3 parking lots: 500 Front Street Lot, 116 Prison Street Lot, and 750 Luakini Lot. We're continuing to work with OOR on the Lahaina reopening. What's next in fiscal year 2026? We are working on a marketing campaign for Wailuku Garage and South Maui Launch. We will be doing the implementation of pay stations at the South Maui sites, ongoing data collection of parking utilization, and an ordinance for Lahaina Town to establish paid parking and permit parking zones. Although this summary is very brief, it consisted of a lot of work and coordination with other departments to get to this point. Neil will be available after the presentation if you have any questions. Next slide, please. The following is a brief description of what has transpired in the ferry program so far in fiscal year 2026. A contract was awarded to KPFF to assist the county in planning and developing documentation for vessel procurement, operations contracts, and environmental requirements. To inform the implementation plan, comprehensive meetings were held with existing ferry operators, including the New York City Ferry, Puerto Rico Ferry, and the Nationwide Public Ferry Coalition, along with other West Coast operators. Maui was also introduced as a new member of the Public Ferry Coalition, which serves as a forum for ferry coordination and advocating for continued federal funding. An RFP was prepared and posted for the Maui County Ferry Environmental Study with a bid opening on April 9th. The county anticipates that services for the environmental study may begin as early as May. The department also began coordinating with FTA Region 9 regarding compliance with environmental requirements, as well as potential federal funding opportunities. Further meetings were held with DNLR and DOBAR to discuss harbor and vessel limitations, which will impact the vessel procurement process. Draft ferry ordinances were also developed and are being finalized for discussion. Next slide, please. What's next in fiscal year 2026 for the ferry program? We'll complete the environmental study vendor selection and award, which is anticipated to take approximately 1 year to complete, the HEPA, Hawaii Environmental Assessment, and the NEPA, the National Environmental Requirements. Work on finalizing the operations and maintenance RFP is also underway, and the RFP to be completed with further planning contingent on a FONSI, finding of no significant impact for the environmental process. We'll be finalizing new vessel procurement documentation as well. During the first 7.5 months of fiscal year 26, our program specialist 3, Neo Nakamoto, needed to split his time between the Park Maui program and the ferry program. We now have a program specialist 3 dedicated to the ferry program, which is Mr. Will Haney. Neo and Will are available after the presentation for any questions. Next slide, please. The Highway Fund supports the Maui Bus, Fixed Route, ADA paratransit, and commuter services, as well as the matching funds necessary for the county to secure outside grants. These grants include bus-related equipment matching funds and Maui MPO matching funds. Also included in the public transit program are bus stop and maintenance funds. Next slide, please. The Administration Operations Program includes matching funds necessary for the county to secure outside grants. In fiscal year 2026, we are on track to encumber all our matching funds for bus purchases, utilizing 80% federal funds, Federal Transit Administration funds, and 20% county matching funds. FTA grants awarded to the department were for hybrid buses for our Maui Bus Fixed Route service, commuter buses for our Maui Bus commuter service, and vans for our future microtransit service. The funds also includes the matching funds for the Maui Metropolitan Planning Organization. The department also purchased its first truck for staff to work out in the field in lieu of using their personal vehicles. Next slide, please. The following are programs funded by our highway funds. We currently have one transportation program coordinator that oversees these programs. He also does the initial ADA paratransit application intake and approval for that program. Regarding the public transit programs, our contractors have been faced with a shortage of drivers, mechanics, and support staff, which has been an ongoing issue nationwide. Despite those challenges, they have been diligent in minimizing service disruptions for these programs. Regarding the bus stop and maintenance program, we strive to ensure our bus stop shelters are clean and safe. We have a contract for shelter pressure washing monthly and trash removal 3 times a week for each sheltered stop. We are currently working with a contract for we are also currently working on a contract for the development of the microtransit pilot program. Next slide, please. The Grant Revenue Fund, I apologize. The Grant Revenue Fund reflected a large increase in fiscal year 26 due to the inclusion of congressional delegated funds for the ferry program that was not chosen to move forward in fiscal year 2026. Next slide, please. Grant revenue funds are allotted for the different type of federal funds expected from the Federal Transit Administration and for the Maui MPO. It includes the FTA discretionary competitive grants, congressional delegated funds, and other transportation grants. Regarding the MPO, there are also 4 grant revenue funded positions that fall under transportation. They are the Maui MPO Executive Director and staff who are administratively tied to our department. They currently have 2 vacancies that they are working to fill. Next slide, please. The following is a list of our current fiscal year 2026 CIP projects. We currently have 1 CIP coordinator for the department. Next slide, please. Regarding our bus stop and shelters program, phase 7 has been completed. It included 6 new bus shelters on the south and west sides and repairs to 6 existing bus shelters. Phase 8 construction contract has been awarded, and the project will construct 4 new bus shelters and repairs to 3 existing shelters. New shelters for this phase includes Haiku, Halimaili, and Kihei. Phase 9 is currently in the planning and design phase, and this phase will include 3 new shelter installations and repair and maintenance to 18 existing shelters. For the Kahului Transit Center project, the project contract has been awarded, and the consultant will begin design work for the new PV and battery system for the transit center. Next slide, please. For the transportation base yard, the Maui DOT base yard master plan is currently in progress and is expected to be completed soon. The Vivao Street improvement projects has been awarded to a consultant, and design work has begun with curb, gutter, and sidewalk improvements. The Parking Benefits Districts project will work in conjunction with Park Maui programs needs. Next slide, please. That concludes our presentation, and we'll be here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. And I apologize for going so quickly through that.
No,
I know time is of the essence for everyone.
Thank you, Deputy Director Yogi, for that presentation. We're going to jump into public testimony right now. So, staff, I see one person coming down for this testimony, so feel free, come on down, and the floor is yours, JC.
Hey, Mr. Chair, long time no see. You don't have to read all that stuff for me. I know the big guy over there come and get me with the hook if I do anything wrong. I ride the Maui bus every day. I really appreciate all the taxpayers keeping that thing going. And I think about, like, if the buses ever stopped, then we'd be in big trouble, because I see a lot of the workers that ride the bus. And a day like today, the Maui buses are going to be running as long as they can. And that's what I wanted to say mainly was just thank all the unseen workers there. And we're really blessed to have a good company, Roberts from Hawaii, I think they're from Oahu, that do a really good job, and they're very courteous to everybody and treat everybody equally.
Okay.
And I don't see Councilmember Polton here, but I'm pretty sure she was going to ask a question about the Strait of Hormuz and the prices of oil going up.
All right, thank you for your testimony, staff, or members. Do we have any clarifying questions? I don't see any, so what's going on with our TV there? I don't see anyone. Oh, is that the presentation?
Apologies, Chair. We did stop sharing the presentation. I'm not sure what's going on with the screen on our monitor.
I see everybody in here. I don't see anybody saying they can't see anything. It's maybe a tech on our issue, but do we have any other testifiers?
Chair, there's no individuals signed up to testify at this time, so I can do a last call.
Please.
Please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams if you would like to testify. This is final call. The countdown is 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated that they wish to testify.
Members, seeing there's no one else wishing to testify, are there any objections to closing this item for public testimony?
No
All
objections.
Right. Thank you. I'll now close public testimony for this item and jump into deliberations. And let's enter discussion on this item. I propose 3 minutes per each round of this, 3 minutes for each round per council member. And we'll just go down the list, starting with our left. We have Vice Chair Senensi, 3 minutes. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Fair enough. Councilmember Batangan?
Oh, thank you, Chair. Department. So what does the delay in your environmental assessment?
Oh, just a minute. I'm sorry. I see folks online saying they can't hear.
Can you guys hear me now? Oh, interesting.
Can you hear?
Because it's echoing loud and clear through the chamber.
Yeah.
Chair, could we take like a 1 minute recess?
We're going to take a recess. The time is now 12:12. We'll come back at 12:15. Aloha, and apologies for the interruption, members and community members. The ADEPT committee is now coming back from its short recess. The time is now 12:15. We're dealing with a little bit of weather issues, of course, but we were on Councilmember Batangan's line of questioning. I don't mean to cut you off because of the weather, but feel free to continue your line of questions.
Thank you, Chair. Department, what does the delay in conducting the environmental assessment for the ferry program mean for the timeline of launch?
Department?
I'll let Neil take that. Neil, do you have a updated timeline?
Can you hear me or see me? Okay, great. Yeah.
So I thought
I hear Chair Lee. Oh.
Chair Lee's mic's open. Now she's muted. Go ahead, Mr. Nakamoto. Beg your pardon.
Okay, great. So we're not quite sure how long the EA is going to take. So if it gets issued in May, it could be as short as 1 year, or it could go up to 2. So that's the problem that we have. We can't do anything else until that EA is approved. We know with the HEPA that we have to go and do all of the stuff with SHPD and all that. We're still trying to get clarification from FTA in terms of what we do with the NEPA part. And so we're trying to do the best that we can right now, but there's a lot of unanswered questions. We won't know until this gets started, unfortunately. So on the long term, it's probably going to be up to 2 years.
Thank you for that response. Does the department have any plans to increase the frequency in its fixed route service in the next fiscal year? And does it have any plans to modify the West Maui Express? I note that it was previously 4 routes that were combined into one post-fire, but it's been some time now. Is there any consideration to breaking that back up?
Department?
Thank you for the question. We have been in discussions with the Lahaina community and what the requirements, what the needs are there as well. The hardest part for us is we don't have a hub on the west side at this time. So what we try to do is we take requests from people, and if we can provide additional stops in areas within Lahaina, then we will try to accommodate them in that way. But as of right now, we will we'll have to continue the one route on the West Maui Islander. Excuse me, losing my voice.
And then for the rest of the system, is there any consideration to increasing frequency?
Department?
Well, we try to increase, sorry, I apologize. We try to increase frequency it's actually difficult at this time. If we increase frequency, it's going to require additional funding, additional drivers, additional buses. And right now, our contractors are having difficulty finding drivers. So that's going to be hard. We are getting new buses from with our FTA funds, so that might help address that problem. But we do need to find drivers and workers to expand the service.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, let's just go down the line here, and we have Chair Lee up next, followed by Councilmember Cook. Chair Lee?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lee. Councilmember Cook?
Aloha, and thank you for your presentation. I've really enjoyed working with the department on the Park Maui planning, and I'm looking forward to that unrolling. It seems like the CDL drivers is one of the main choke points to be able to expand service. How much do CDL drivers get paid?
Department?
Offhand, are you aware of that?
Thank you for that question. I believe it varies by contractor or employer. I know we were talking about developing a workforce development program with, maybe colleges and things of that sort. But the snag we ran into is you have to be 21 to get a CDL license. So that made that a little bit difficult, but.
So I don't mean to interrupt you, but
correct.
I understand. And part of that question was I'm acknowledging the challenges the department has in expanding its services, because one side, I'm asking for expanded routes in South Maui and more often routes and diversifying from the big buses and the little buses. And I've been told part of that is financial, of course, but fundamental, even if you had unlimited money, you can't do that expansion unless you have the CDL drivers. And my understanding, CDL drivers get paid really well, but they have to have a clean record and be reliable and very responsible. So anyway, all of us can keep our eyes out and cheer for people to get their CDLs so that we can expand our services. Yeah. So I don't really have any more questions. I'm just supportive of what you're doing and hoping that we can get the bus stops that are planned built sooner than later. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that line of questioning. Let's move on to Councilmember Hodgins, followed by Councilmember Sinensi.
Thank you, Chair. I have no questions right now. I appreciate the department's time and their flexibility too with us in this storm.
Thank you so much. Well said. Vice Chair Sinensi.
Mahalo, Chair, and mahalo, Deputy Diane, for that presentation. My first question was, has there been any applicants to fill the MPO positions?
Department?
Thank you for that question. I believe there are applicants and they are being reviewed by the MPO TIC. So that's all the information I have regarding that position.
Okay, I don't see Member Polton, but the mayor had committed to expanding the Lahaina bypass northbound. Has there been any movement with our, I guess, lobbyists up in DC?
Department?
Thank you for that question. I apologize. I believe that would be more a highways question. I don't have information regarding that. I apologize.
Okay, but I think the department still has a federal lobbyist that helps with some of our projects. Okay.
Yeah, well, we have a federal lobbyist for our transportation programs, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Chair, that was all, but I did want to extend my mahalo to the continued support of the air ambulance program.
Yeah.
Rural communities like us heavily rely on those. So again, mahalo for the support. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. That's well said. Councilmember Sinensi is from Hana. I live on Lanai. That air ambulance is so key. Is that enough funds, the $670K? Could you do more with more?
Thank you for that question. We are in direct communication with Department of Health. Whenever we are preparing our budget, we reach out and ask, hey, do you guys need more funds? And so far, they're letting us know that we're okay with the same $672,000. So
okay,
that's what we keep in our budget.
So I'm going to move on. The big topic in my mind, I'm sure you can guess what it is. It's the ferry. First off, there's a lot of work you guys done on it. Thank you so much. I'm glad we partnered up to get some stuff done. But that, Mr. Nakamoto, I'll be honest, that 2-year timeline kind of scares me. So I guess basically for the environmental assessment, my understanding is the status now is you have till next month to apply to be the person to do the assessment. So my question is when those applicants come in, don't they have like a timeline that says we can guarantee this work done in X amount of months, and that application says 10 months and this application says 12 months and that applicant can do it in 14 months? wouldn't you want to consider the one to be the shortest? And, you know, I mean, all things considered, I would ask you to try to crunch that calendar a bit. So is that how the process works? Can you get into that, Mr. Nakamoto, or Deputy Director, whoever likes?
I think from our vantage point, whenever it comes to an environmental assessment, you want to plan for the best, but also for the worst. So in the best case scenario, a Fonte would be delivered maybe below 12 months, but on the longer side, it could take up to 2 years. And honestly, we won't know until we get there, until they start doing, you know, all of their analysis and their research. We're hopeful that it's going to be a very short turnover. But we're not the people doing the assessment, so.
Right, but you're going to contract out someone to do that assessment,
Correct.
Right? So
yes.
I
Yes,
would
we
hope
are.
you had some partners, some folks who have done this before. You guys know some other groups. You work well with these folks, or you just know that they're well known in this arena to do a really good job. Quicker, quicker being the thing I'm emphasizing, just letting you know.
Definitely. We totally concur with your assessment, and that's what we're going to try to obtain as well. And once the bids are closed by April 9th, we'll be able to evaluate who's applied, and of course, we'll select the best candidate.
Okay. The Public Ferry Coalition, that's news to me. That's fascinating. I never knew it existed. So it's a bunch of municipalities that hooied up and said, this is our communities that are we all own public ferries. Is that my understanding? And you guys
yes, you have to be.
And Maui County is not one of them?
Sorry. Yes, we are. We're a member of them, yes.
In my notes, I wrote Public Ferry Coalition, and I put me in, coach. I want to be there. I want to hear. I want to talk. I want to learn more about that coalition and see what they can actually do to help us make this ferry system a reality. So if you guys, this looks like the way you guys are rolling out the ferry program, maybe it would be time in the upcoming year for me to have like a committee meeting on this topic, and you guys can all present the findings and tell us where you're at. Because it's not just me and this body who wants to know about the ferry. It's the Lanai residents. It's the Molokai guys who are stuck going on the airline. It's all the folks in our community, in a multi-island community, that really want to learn more. So maybe this is something moving forward. We could bring it for a 7B if the time is right. Not during budget, though, because it's going to be too crazy. But, you know, at some point when there's actually something to really discuss, I'd want to learn more about it.
Okay, we'll definitely follow up and send you an invitation and the link to their PFC.
Please, I would love that. Those were all my questions, members and department. Thank you. We'll do a second round by raise of hands if anybody wants. Okay, I would assume Mr. Batangan would have some more questions, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so I heard Deputy Director mention that there was some congressional directed spending in a previous fiscal year. Can you go into more detail on that?
Department?
Sure. Thank you for that question. We did receive congressional delegated spending for planning and design of our Maui Bayshore facility. We also received in the previous year congressional delegated spending for buses from Senator Schatz as well.
Were there any requests in this in FY26, and are there any requests in the administration's package for FY27?
Departments?
We actually did put in a request for ferries, ferry vessels. Unfortunately, that did not make the cut because of, I'm imagining it's because of the cost of the ferries. We are exploring other federal funds from the Federal Transit Administration. It would mostly be for ferry vessel construction, because in order to get federal funds for operations, we have to be operating for 5 years, is what we were told. So.
Thank you. So when you say it didn't make the cut, does that mean that the department made the request to the administration and the administration didn't include it in its package to the congressional delegation, or it was included in the request to the congressional delegation and the delegation wasn't able to deliver?
Department?
Thank you for that question. It was not included in the packet to the delegation. I believe it was because of the amount of funding. They did try to help us by saying maybe we could do partial, but in the long run, it was a very big ask. And there was a lot of other projects that were being considered as well.
Understood. Last question. Your presentation said that Park Maui rollout in South Maui is coming soon. Do we have an indication as to when soon may be?
Oh, I can address that question. It all depends on our vendors and in getting the application up to speed, as well as the installation of the pay stations. So fortunately, we got the SMA approved just last week, which is a big win. I would like to say it's coming soon is April-ish. I'm hoping that it won't delay into May, but that could be a possibility. So yeah, that's all I can say to that.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, for my second and final questions, every time I see our representative Jill Takuda, the first thing she says to me is, when is the county going to purchase a ferry so I can put it in my transportation fund plan or transportation plan? So I think there is desire at the congressional, at the federal level. So don't be shy to reach out, because she always reaches out to me about this very topic. So I would really recommend you guys speak to her to see what kind of things she would be willing to work with us on. So just wanted to put that out there, because that's great to have alignment. Used to be, I'd be going to the federal guys saying, hey, we need money for the ferry. Now all of a sudden the federal guys are coming to me and saying, when are you guys gonna buy it so we can help you? So I think there is, a change in perspective. So please look into that if you can. That would be wonderful. That's the end of my time. That's the end of my questions. And I don't see any other hands from the, we do have.
Can I follow up on that?
Go ahead, feel free.
I would also like to note for the administration that in my conversations with the congressional delegation, they expressed an eagerness to support the ferry project as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Because I'm going to ask them too, So it'd be nice to hear the Department of Transportation ask them. All right, that's the end of our lines of questions. And I really appreciate you guys' presentation. I appreciate the work you do. And thank you so much for joining us on a particular bad weather day. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So members, if you don't mind, any objections to me deferring this item? No objections. Okay. Staff, is there anything?
No objections.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else we need to do? Are we at the end of the agenda, staff?
Chair, there's nothing further for the committee.
Okay, members. Well, seeing that takes us to the end of the agenda, this meeting is adjourned. The time is now 12:34.
Job, Chair.